All right, everybody, welcome to another game. Today, it's on Sunday. We're playing a one-shot with friends from YouTube. We're going to be playing. I got an echo because of Twitch. Hold on. Nothing ever goes right the first time. So,
You have no idea how many streams I've started with that echo.
yeah. Well, we're always trying to check to see if it's on because that's like the. It probably was like in. I don't know, like 80s, maybe early 80s, when everybody was starting to get cell phones and they were really big and huge, and so people would be like, "Can you hear me? Wait, can you hear me now? Wait, are you there?" You know, and now they're so good you don't do that anymore. But Twitch has brought it back for me. So, okay, so we have a one shot for you guys today. We have a couple of regular faces that you've seen if you're used to my channel, and we have a couple of new faces, and we're gonna get to introduce everybody. But before we get to our characters, we'll get there in just a second. You can see a little bit of them up on the screen in just a moment. But let's give you a little rundown of what we're going to try to play today. So today we are starting an adventure in the lands of Velan. So Velan is a peninsula kind of in the south, much further south on the Sword Coast than many have seen in the Forgotten Realms. Kind of a jungly atmosphere, lots of pirates around, lots of interesting intrigue, temples and ruins, and all kinds of things to be had towards the south. And we're a little bit north of Chult, which is kind of what is the big thing that's going to be coming out in a couple months from Dungeons & Dragons as they release their next area that they kind of focus on. So I thought this would be a good chance to put an adventure near there. So we're going to play that today. And in Velan, we're going to be on the southern coast of Velan, if you happen to be looking at a map. And on that southern coast, we will be in the fishing town of Saltbreak. And our adventures will be starting from there. So it's going to be pretty fun. So let's jump into introducing our characters. Let's start with a little bit of introduction out of character. So these are some friends from YouTube now. We have, as you can see on the screen, we'll start, I guess, with just the videos that we have. Let me move us over to our actual screen. How about that? So you guys can see a little bit. There we go. So we'll put Graybeard on the spot. He's our first one. So Graybeard's a Twitch and YouTuber. He's going to be joining us today. Go ahead and give us a little bit about maybe what's on your channel and some of the stuff you do.
Hail, hi, howdy, everyone. I'm old Graybeard. I'm a variety streamer. I like playing Dungeons & Dragons, though, as now I run one campaign, not on the air, just for the Deer House Elves and Tavern Dwellers. And then I play in at least 2 and hopefully 3 and 5 and 7, as many D&D campaigns with Lucian as I can, because he's an awesome DM. And that's what I do. My YouTube is kind of dead at the moment because I lost my partner in the YouTube business. So hopefully I'll learn the ropes and get some more content out. And then am I supposed to introduce my character too?
Nope, we'll come around to that in just a sec. Yeah,
that's me.
Yeah, so definitely check him out. He is streaming. In fact, when are you streaming though? At least mention that so people can find you.
If I'm not on Thursday nights with Lucian, I'm on Friday nights for the Hearthstone Happy Hour. I usually play digital cards. So I'm on Saturday morning for Sci-Fi Saturday. I play everything from, Star Citizen to I just played StarCraft last week, like original StarCraft. And then I do a talk show on Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Dr. Gear, one of the Tavern Dwellers. And then Monday nights with Lucian and Thursday nights with Lucian.
Awesome.
A lot of streaming.
Yeah, I know right now the Mondays and Thursday games are really good. So if you haven't seen them, for me too, that's the Monday night streaming on Sir Lucian Twitch and on Mixer at this point. You can find me, but I also put all the videos up on YouTube. So moving over, we have PB Plays Inside from YouTube. Go ahead. She puts up a lot of videos, and she's kind of a Minecrafter. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about the stuff you're doing, PB.
Yes, I do a lot of Minecraft. I do a lot of D&D, just like Graybeard. On Mondays, I play Storm King's Thunder with Sir Lucian as our DM and Graybeard as a player. On Thursdays, same thing. Another a small little campaign over there on Sir Lucian's channel, and I just play a lot of D&D. I play a lot of Minecraft. I play over on a thing called the STBN server, and maybe some Rocket League soon. I don't know. I'm also trying out streaming for the first time in my life over on YouTube. So, you could go tell me how awful or great it is.
Yeah, that'd be great. Awesome. So moving over, our first guest who's not in one of Sir Lucian's campaigns. We had to get somebody that wasn't already playing in my other 5, 10, 20 campaigns. We have Jordan. So Jordan, you're doing quite a bit on your YouTube. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about your channel.
I run a YouTube channel called Forgotten Realms Explained. If you search my name, Jordan, with a silent PH in the middle, you'll find it. And our goal is to create digestible bites of D&D lore. So we're kind of making these little 8-minute videos every week that take some aspect of D&D lore and try to explain it and make it useful for you for future DMs. And then I've started a kind of a bi-weekly vlog of my personal game that I'm running of White Plume Mountain. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you and welcome to the game.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Certainly not the least at all, but at the end of our little cameras here, we have Magpie Randoms, who's also doing YouTube channel. And go ahead, Magpie, tell us a little bit about you and some of the stuff that you're putting up on your channel.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to the game. I'm a relatively new YouTuber. I've got quite a small but growing channel dedicated mainly to Baldur's Gate games, but increasingly D&D as well. I'm quite new to actually playing D&D, and I'm completely new to Roll20, so this is a brand new experience for me. So I'm really excited. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. There's only one way to jump in, and that's with both feet and just do it all at once. I did the same where had never used Roll20 before, hadn't done streaming too much, and then decided I wanted to run a role-playing campaign. Just learned the 5th edition rules, just learned how to use Roll20, just learned how to stream. I mean, it was like a mess. Don't ever do that if anybody's out there. Like, do them one at a time. So, all right. So let us jump in. So now we have our players, but now we should introduce our characters. But before we do that, we have to add in a 5th character. And our 5th character is our town of Saltbreak, because it's kind of a character of its own. So for those of you that are tuning in and listening up, what is this whole Saltbreak and what is it? So this is a town, a decent-sized fishing town, has several large docks for merchant ships that come in. It's a place that's known for exporting pearls. There's quite a few popular pearl beds near here, and those get exported to all over the Sword Coast area. There's also, they do a lot of sea salt manufacturing here and various fish species that they import back up to the north, and they bring in all the stuff that they don't have from there. And this is where our adventurers have been living or have grown up in their time. We'll see that when they introduce them. Now, the one thing that makes this stand out is not only is Saltbreak the town, but it's also the home of the Saltbreak Adventuring Company, and that's what our group has joined. The Saltbreak Adventuring Company was something that was created by the town when many years ago they had a tragedy happen when several youngsters, several mid-teens who had been growing up on stories and legends of heroes and adventurers decided that they wanted to be adventurers and that they were going to go out and find adventure on their own. As they gathered stuff from around the town that they could find, they cobbled together what they thought was armor, weapons, and gear and rope that they would need, and they decided that they would go out and find their own adventure. But tragedy struck when they were inside of a ship that had wrecked on the beach, and it had mysteriously capsized over, and the youngsters had drowned, and the town was quite distraught with the idea that these youngsters had, died, and nobody really had known what they were doing or where they were, or what was going on. And so they kind of formed together. They came together, and as a town might, and they said we should make some rules. So it's kind of like that. If you want to jump out of character, it's almost like Kevin Bacon's movie about dancing. Not in my head at the moment.
Footloose.
Footloose. I keep thinking Flashdance, and I'm like, he's not in Flashdance. He's not in Flashdance. Footloose, where the town has a tragedy, and they make laws that say nobody can party or dance because that leads to people dying. So we had this group of people come together and say nobody should adventure, nobody should tell stories and anything because we don't want our young people to go off and die horribly trying to find this really dangerous adventure. But then there was a bigger group that said there's no way we're never going to be able to convince the youngsters not to go out and adventure. It's just always going to happen. They're always going to hear stories. There's nothing that we can do. So instead of banning adventuring, which we won't really be able to do, they'll just sneak off and do it anyways. Why don't we support them and find a way to help them? So what they did is they created the Salt Break Adventuring Company, and they allow anybody that's over 16 or older to join the Salt Break Adventuring Company. And the company itself provides training and equipment and gear so that they're ready when they go out into this dangerous world, and they're not just kind of sneaking off unprepared. So they're doing as much as they can to help them be successful. So that's kind of the backdrop of where we're going to start, and that will allow us to kind of jump into our character introduction. So if we start again over on my screen all the way over to the left besides me, then we have Graybeard. So let's go ahead and hear Graybeard's introduction of the character he will be playing today.
All right, today I'll be playing Blaze Emberheart, Battlemaster. You may sorry. You may know me from such adventures as solving the sinister secret of Saltmarsh, or the time I dared to defy the danger of Dunwater. I'll watch your back. That's Blaze.
Nice pitch. All right. Everybody is, for those watching, our characters are third level as we're starting, just to keep that in mind as we go. So that brings us to PB. Go ahead and give us a little taste of what character you'll be playing today.
I am Yaretsi Venus Brightfalls, a tabaxi who's lived on the streets since she was young, but now I'm here, ready to make the place a better tomorrow for everyone. And I'm a rogue, so I can slink in and out of every corner, just like when I did when I was young.
Nice. And I'll never be able to pronounce your name the way you do, so I will butcher that. We think of PB as kind of our resident linguist who studies all of that. In fact, our adventure, which I have to let me pause a second. Our adventure is, let me play it for our group.
Mictlancihuatl.
Yeah, Mictlancihuatl is the name of our Mictlancihuatl smiles. And PB helped me figure out the pronunciation of that.
Yep.
So, and maybe that'll give you a hint of the kind of adventure we're about to have. So, okay, so moving on, we have Jordan. What kind of character did you bring to play today?
So I've got a Goliath death cleric named Edgecliff Doramir. And he is a priest of Loviatar, who is known as the Maiden of Pain. And Loviatar is all about like having pain and pain against others and things like that is all forms of worship for her. So an evil deity, but I'm not necessarily evil. My tribe just kind of values the pain that helps you grow and gets through life. So he's from the indeterminate south, heading north to Valine for seeking adventure and pain to worship his god.
Awesome. And then that brings us up to Magpie. What kind of character did you bring today?
Okay, so today I'm playing a halfling wizard called Griselda Goodsoup. And Griselda is obsessed with food. She is the best cook in Saltbreak, so good that the mayor actually hired her to cook in his kitchen. She comes from quite a poor family. The Goodsoups are very well known, but they don't have much money and there's lots of them. So she's been quite limited in how far she can take her culinary prowess. And she joined the adventuring company to get out and find some rare ingredients, new tastes, and become the best she can be. She's a guild artisan in the Bakers and Cooks Guild. So she wants to be the best cook she can be and kind of famous. So that's where she is.
Awesome. So we have quite the group going here, so that's good. So we have if I go back, so we have a human, a Goliath, a halfling, and a tabaxi. So that should be pretty fun. All right, so let's move you guys over and bring you to Saltbreak itself. Let's take a look at that. And welcome to the fishing town of Saltbreak, where everything is nice and bright colors, and it's a very secure port town, although there are pirates out in the oceans quite often. They don't ever seem to raid inland. The walls keep everything that's in the dark forest out. And again, we're on the southern shores of Velan. Now, you may know Velan is actually a town name. It's actually a city name, too. But it's also in the land of Velan. But that's to our north, and we won't actually get up to there too much. But we open our day on a bright and sunny morning after our adventurers have finished their training. When they joined the Saltbreak Adventuring Company, they were given 1 year to train and equip themselves. And this is why they have some of the skills and some of the abilities that they have. Because the town pools together and hires either trainers or guides or, tutors, those kinds of things, and brings them together to make sure that anybody that's joining the adventure has all the skills they could need to go out into this dangerous world. So a year has gone by where these adventurers have honed their skills here in Saltbreak. And for the first time, they are... Let me bring back my notes over here a second. For the first time, they are summoned to the Elders' Hall, where they meet with the kind of the voice of the Elders at the moment is Marcella, Elder Marcella. And she has summoned you on a nice bright morning to say, today will be the day. Today, we're going to send you on a mission. You've been training. You've been itching to get out there into adventure. And now it is time. And so she has you seat in this kind of the elders' office. And it's like the place where the elders meet. And it's a big table with chairs. And she has you sit down. And they bring you refreshments. And she says, I've been keeping track of your training, and I realize all of you are anxious to get out into the world, so we will send you out today. We had a report from a fisherman that 2 days to the east, there's a ship wrecked upon the beach. And she pauses, and this is something that would probably all of you would think about a little bit more, just because you realize the first thing you learned when you joined the Saltbreak Adventuring Company is the history, and that the tragedy of you have to learn the 4 people that perished and that they died in a shipwreck. And this is it's a thing that the town still to this day mourns over these lost children. And so she has a very serious look as she pauses, almost a moment of silence kind of pause, and you're sure that inside your head and even in her head she's reciting the names of those that have perished. And then she continues and says, this is an ominous first mission to send you on, but we believe you have the skills necessary to make sure that not only is this shipwreck safe for the fishermen to come in and haul off the beach, but to be sure that nothing will happen for anyone that might stumble upon it. We cannot just leave it out there. And so she looks at you. So she says to you, so I implore you to gather your gear, make sure you have your provisions packed, and as a test, and your final test, is to hike over along the coast, find the shipwreck, and be sure that it's cleared out and safe, and that so that the fishermen may come and pick it up. And then she kind of waits to see if there's any questions from the group.
Well, that's easy. No problem.
Is your goal to get the ship in working order again, or just to make it a safe area?
Our goal is to make it safe. We know that the last time somebody entered a shipwreck on the beach, those souls never made it back. And to this day, we still do not know how they perished or why they perished. It's only that we found their bodies several days later. So we do not wish this to happen again, and we wish to send those that have more skills to be sure that nothing will happen.
Sounds exciting. Sounds like a excellent plan. Some pain for Loviatar. So I will gladly accept this mission.
Great. So she nods and takes a look at all of you and then says, well, if there is nothing further, be sure to gather all your equipment that you need. I'm sure the merchants are fully stocked for anything that you might be missing. And then hopefully we will see you in a few days' time. Hiking there probably will take you 2 days, she kind of says, because she's not completely sure. So she says, we'll expect to see you within a week.
Okay.
And then, yeah, she kind of just allows you to continue with your refreshments, and then you are able to amble on your way to gather your equipment, gear up, and get anything last minute that you may need.
I don't know about you three, but I came here ready to roll.
I believe I have everything I need. I mean, does anybody else need anything?
I have a cooking pot. I have a spoon. That's all I need.
I always want to be in your adventuring group, because if you can eat well, that's more important than anything.
An adventuring company marches on their stomach, let me tell you.
The only thing I can think of that I personally don't have is rope. Rope always seems to be advantageous. Does anybody have some rope?
I have rope.
Excellent.
Yes.
I have rope.
What kind of pack do you have?
Let me see. I think it's an explorer's pack. 50 feet of hemp rope.
Yes.
There it is. Jorfton. Or, Edgecliff. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry,
crap.
we have all our names, our other names, our character names on all ours. So, Edgecliff, what kind of pack do you have?
That is an excellent question. I have a priest pack.
No rope in there.
No rope.
Well, I have an explorer's pack. Plenty of rope.
Awesome. All right. So you are all suited up and ready to go. And it's mid-morning when you start your trek. And you enter what's kind of along the coastline. You can follow the coast. Now, it doesn't wind like in a straight line, but you're not exactly sure where on the coast you're going to find this shipwreck. So you follow it anyways, just so that you won't miss it if you're trying to, save time going the overland route. As you march and you go, let's talk about what this looks like for our group. So our group is, for the first time, now you've probably done some training together. You've probably worked together as the adventuring group has put you together. In the Salt Break Adventuring Company, they have what are called bands, and these are groups of adventurers that work together a lot. And you guys are part of a band, and so you've done some kind of group exercise together along with any of the training that you might have done separately. So when trekking through the woods, and you know that this is a dangerous area, although the town is bright and secure, even just a couple 100 yards outside of the city walls can be dangerous. What does it look like as you're traveling along the beach? Is it like a single file kind of trek? Is everybody walking abreast, or is it 2x2s, or how does this group travel?
Well, we've trained together, so I imagine that I would prefer to walk next to Edgecliff. And because he's big and he's got a shield, and I do not have a shield. I just have big weapons, and I think it would be best for Griselda to try to stay behind the Goliath until it's magic time.
Yes.
And even though sometimes Yaretsi makes me uncomfortable because I can't hear her behind me. She probably can leap out from behind the two bigger guys of us. So maybe 2x2 if nobody minds.
I think that's good. Graybeard, what is your character name again?
Oh, I'm Blaze Emberheart.
Thank you. Yeah, 2x2 sounds great. I'll stand next to Blaze.
Awesome. So heading down the beach, and if you were to stop and kind of just enjoy the scenery, this is kind of a tropics beach. The water has a beautiful color to it. The rhythmic tides and the waves crashing against the rocks or the sandy beaches as you go is mesmerizing, and it's a very peaceful place. And it's on kind of on your right hand side as you're heading east. The ocean is on your right hand side, and then on your left hand side is this dark kind of jungle forest that is pretty thick, and you hear the sounds of all kinds of animals and birds, and then at times you hear it go quiet. And then each of you maybe slowly put your hands to your weapons as you wait and you look, and then nothing happens, and then you move on and you continue. And it's a pretty standard feeling for you when walking through these woods. You know this place can be dangerous, but you also know that you've been trained and you know to keep a lookout. And you're confident adventurers. You know you're here for adventure. It's what you're looking for. So you travel your first full day, and you start to see the sun go down, and you're going to make your first camp upon. Tell me a little bit about this. Now, would your group want to camp on the beach? Would your group want to camp a little in the woods? What would they look for when they're looking for their campsite?
I think I would want to camp a little more in the woods to have protection from the elements.
Yeah, same.
Okay. So yeah, so you guys are keeping an eye out a little bit into the woods. You're looking for a spot. You're looking for maybe trees to set under, and it's a pretty thick foliage that you would have to kind of crash through to really make it. And every now and then there's deer trails or animal trails of whatnot. But you come upon a place where you think is a pretty good camping site, one that you've done many times before as far as the type of area you're looking for, and you begin to set up camp. So maybe tell us what setting up camp looks a little bit like, and that gives our viewers a little chance to get to know you guys. So what's camp setup look like for you?
Since we're in a jungle climb, Blaze has a hammock. His bedroll is like a netted hammock, and he puts it between two trees, and starts to swing back and forth. Maybe he's got his maul out one side, and he's kind of rocking himself, and he's munching an apple. And then we've got maybe a low fire because we don't need a fire for heat, just for cooking. But I'll leave that to Magpie to figure that out.
Yeah, as she's poking the fire and getting the pot nice and hot, she kind of casts Blaze a little bit of an annoyed look and saying, "You're going to spoil your dinner if you keep eating."
Gotta keep my energy up.
Hard on this chowder, okay? I've collected all these shells from the sea as we've been walking, and I'm making a mean chowder. So don't spoil your dinner. And she kind of looks
just one apple. And I like munch it real quick and chuck the core into the woods.
Awesome. What about Yaretsi? What's she do when camp is getting set up?
Oh, that was good. That was good pronunciation. I am I'm close by the food. I'm mouth watering thinking about the amazing food our resident halfling makes. But I'm looking at and then past the food out into the wilderness, just making sure there's nothing awful down there.
All right, so definitely watchful, but also staying near the food. Awesome. And then, so it's Eglath or Elglath?
I did Edgecliff.
Edgecliff. All right, let me write that down. I'll get that right. Perfect. So what does Edgecliff do when camp starts to get set up?
I think he's probably going to take out a bedroll, which is really just a glorified thick blanket because he's pretty used to sleeping on the ground. And if there's a larger leaf nearby, like one the size of me or like 5 feet tall, he'd probably try to take that leaf and tie it to a stick to create some kind of shade from the sun.
Nice. Okay.
And then mostly just stretching out his sore muscles waiting for dinner.
Perfect. Yeah, so we see camp. Everybody's kind of gets their stuff set up. Griselda's been... tell us a little bit. So you're making the chowder. Tell us a little bit. Is there a lot more prep going on? Is this like a big production, or are you like one of those cooks that's really good at using minimalist stuff?
I've been picking up stuff that I've found along the way, and it's all very well thought out. She's a little bit obsessional. Things have to be just right. She is a bit of a perfectionist. And she's a very friendly halfling, but if anyone goes near her cooking implements, she kind of gives them the eye and waves the spoon intimidatingly. So she likes to do things her way. So it is quite involved. You know, she's putting bits of this, bits of that. She's looking around for herbs. She's picking them up. She's putting them in. It's going to be fabulous, but nobody else quite knows what she's doing. It looks like something very carefully orchestrated.
Yeah, nice. And when we get to the end, you have everything ready. Talk a little bit about like the presentation. So is it like on these like wooden plates, and then it's like at a chef's place, or is it, you know, give us a little description of what you're handing out to the players.
So I'm handing out wooden bowls, which I'm ladling the chowder into, and I'm giving them big troughs of crusty bread to kind of hunk up that chowder with and eat. And it smells absolutely delicious. It's steaming.
I can smell it, and I'm hungry now.
My battery's about to go. I'm just going to plug in my laptop.
Okay. No. So we have a wonderful meal, and would it be a talkative group? Do you guys chit-chat? Do you kind of keep to yourselves, do you think?
I think I keep to myself, mostly some silent prayers to my God.
Okay. More of an
Silent
introspective
meditation.
group.
Yeah.
Blaze talks enough for everyone.
So he just drones on. And everybody's already used to just kind of tuning him out. Gotcha. So nightfall is about to happen. And we're going to, and this scene, then we're setting up the scene just so you guys, for those that are watching and those that you might see this on YouTube, get an idea of how our group kind of handles their day-to-day function and how they travel and a little bit about them. And so the sun's about to go down. Does this group set watches? Does this group just trust in the gods to keep them safe at night? How's that work?
I don't know. I'd lean towards setting a watch, but
Yeah, that's probably the best idea, I would think, personally.
Well, let me tell you, if we had some elves, they could just trance. They do this trance thing and they're awake, but yet they get their rest. If only we had some elves.
If only you're channeling a different character.
I'll take first watch.
I'll take second watch. How many watches do we need?
4.
4?
Oh, I'll take third watch.
All right, I'll take last.
Can any of you see in the dark?
Yes.
Ooh, good question.
No, I don't think halflings can.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I can.
I know, that's why I was asking. I was like, ooh.
That's like real adventures. None of those cheaty elves again.
Like to torch the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, you keep your fire blazing so you can see out into that
Although
night.
I do have the cantrip light, so
Nice.
that helps, I suppose.
All right, so we have an uneventful night as Blaze begins the watch, and then Edgecliff takes over and then wakes Griselda on third watch, who then allows Yaretsi to handle the final watch and then wakes everybody up in the morning. And then you're able to clear your camp, and you're a pretty fastidious group. You like clean up after yourselves. You've been taught well in the Salt Break adventuring company to, kind of keep nature the way it is, even though you're adventurers. and you pack your stuff up, and you're ready to start tracking down the beach again. And then it's near the end of the second day, not quite sundown, when you come along the side of the beach and you get your first sight of a ship resting on the beach in a little cove. So let's bring you over to that.
Oh, nice.
Oh, sweet.
So you see a ship, and the picture's pretty close as far as but the hole is actually on the other side, on the beach side. So as you come up to it, there's a beach area that leads up to this big hole in the side of the ship. The ship has, as you can see here, there's moss and seaweed and kelp, dried up kelp, hanging from it. It definitely has a lot of rot. It looks like it's been kind of a derelict ship for quite a while. And for those of you, I mean, most of you have either been around the coast quite a bit or grew up on the coast. You're used to nautical things. You're used to seeing ships and what they should look like or not. And you can tell this is probably a ship that has definitely seen better days. It definitely looks like it's been derelict for a very long time. And you probably are... It's still to the east of you. As you're looking at it, you're probably 200 or 300 feet along the beach, and the beach curves around to where the boat is. So you're still quite a ways from it when you get your first sight.
Okay. Anything out of the ordinary on the beach wise? Like, are there any creatures running around or anything?
Yeah, as you begin to take a look, without not moving closer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So from here, the one thing you do notice, the ship kind of captures your eyes first, and even just the cove itself and the way the water looks pristine, and the beach is a nice, clean beach, and just even the mountains in the area here. It's a beautiful sight, even though you have this kind of derelict ship sitting here. But then you notice, too, a little bit just before it, there appears to be a fishing skiff pulled up onto the beach with nobody around.
This whole thing screams trap. Yaretsi, do you want to take a better look?
Yes, I would like to. And so where's the best cover here?
Yeah, that's going to be to your left. So you guys are looking, and it kind of curves around like in a crescent moon almost in front of you. If you stay on the beach, you're not going to see much cover on the way there. It's a lot of sand. There's a few rocks and stuff here, but not a ton of cover as a beach approach. But if you were to go up into the woods some and then kind of curve around, you would be able to keep your eye on the ship, but be in the woods by, say, 20 or 30 feet, which would afford you cover as you get closer.
Okay. So I go in that direction, and I sneak over there. I sneak through.
Okay, so let's have our first roll of the game so far. How about a stealth roll from our rogue?
And just for your information, Jordan and Magpie, I am notorious for having awful rolls on Roll20. So just be ready.
Okay.
Okay,
Ooh.
why you gotta do me dirty,
And
Roll20?
then nails it. Yeah.
Hey,
slow playing it.
each character's different, man.
So,
Oh, man, you should-
and I know we do have some new people to Roll20. So the way she did that is she had her character sheet open, and then on her character sheet, there's a list of the skills. And so when she wanted to do the roll, she just clicked the word stealth, and it went ahead and did the roll for her and put it up in Roll20 for us. Now, it rolled 2 times. This is a good question from Jordan earlier. And for any of those that are watching that haven't used Roll20, it will always roll 2 dice. If it's a regular roll, you just take the first one. If you have advantage for some reason, you get to take the highest one. If you have disadvantage for some reason, and I'll tell you if you do on a roll, then you would take the lowest one. In this case, it was a regular roll, so she gets to take her very first one, which is 24, which is a fantastic roll. When she goes 10 feet into the woods, even you guys can't see her. She is just gone. It's like she never existed as she slinks through the woods. In fact, she can do it whether she's in the treetops, through bushes, shadows, whatever. She gets to make it up. So you slink your way over. How close do you want to get to the shipwreck in your little scouting mission here?
If I see anything, let's see. Well, how far is the tree line from the ship?
The tree line is probably 50 yards of beach. So if you get directly as close as you possibly could to the shipwreck, but still be like right behind a tree trunk in the woods, it's about 50 feet of beach sand between you and the ship. I'm sorry, 50 yards.
So about that close then. I'll stay on the...
Okay, yeah, so you try to get to the closest you can, but stay in the woods cover. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you get closer. So the first thing you notice that kind of... Oh, give me... And now for our second roll, go ahead and give me a perception check to see how well you're able to pick out details.
Oh, come on.
Nailing it. Nailing it. 19. All right. So the first thing you notice right away that kind of makes your ears twitch a little bit is that you're not hearing a lot of forest jungle sounds. So although your stealth is fantastic and most things aren't able to see you, something has everything pretty quiet. So you're not hearing the frogs, you're not hearing many of the birds, you're hearing the subtle lapping of the waves. The sea seems to be in one of its calmness at the moment, so it's not big crashing waves. It's really kind of like almost like a vacation spot kind of idyllic scene, except for the big ship that's rotting here on the beach. And as you get closer, you do see the fishing skiff, which is next to the ship. It would be, you guys came from the east, so the first thing is the little fishing skiff right next to the ship, and then right to the west of that would be the big ship. And it looks like a typical merchant ship, something that you've seen pull into Salt Break many times. The fishing skiff, you got a 19, is pretty good. From what you can see, it looks like it's a small kind of fishing skiff that might have one or two people normally in it. It looks like it's something that paddles. It has a little outrigger that, like a little pontoon outrigger on it, and then it's like almost like a carved out canoe almost type thing. And then you can tell that the central part of it is filled with fish and netting. And with a 19, let's say you pick up a little bit of the sea breeze and you pick up a little bit of the smell that's kind of coming in off the cove, and you get a really strong smell of rotting fish. Like more than you would normally get, obviously being near the ocean.
How close is that little boat to the wreckage?
Probably a 20 or 30 foot span. It looks like it's very close.
And does it look as old as the ship?
Nope. Looks like a well used fishing outrigger, but it looks in perfect working order. You can see the paddles still sitting in it. You can see the nets. It looks like it's been pulled up onto the beach so that the tide wouldn't take it. And that's all you see from 50 yards away.
So no mossy overgrowth like on the ship?
Nope. Nothing like that at all.
All right. I sit there for a few minutes just to see if I see any movement.
Yeah. So you keep an eye on it, and maybe you can get a few angles of it as you look around. You have such a good stealth skill. You could even climb a tree and still look. And from what you can tell, you're not seeing any movement. Every now and then it creaks, but you're pretty sure that's just the waves kind of will settle it a little bit, and then it'll settle down again every now and then when a wave comes in. And they're not big waves by any stretch of the imagination. You're hearing just things to you that would sound like a creaking ship, just sitting up on a beach.
Okay. As I make my way back to the group, using pretty much the same path, if not a little bit wider, I keep an ear out for any sounds, any like nature sounds that would be normal in this very abnormal silence, to see if there's like a radius where they're just like, nope, not here, not even touching that.
Yeah. So you want to go a little deeper into the woods?
Yeah. On my way back, I want to take a larger.
Near the ship, it's definitely much quieter. halfway back towards where your group is, where you know they are, back up along the beach, you start to hear the sounds of birds again and frogs and such. So it's something definitely closer, more east in the woods than west. The more you travel west, the more things seem to go back to normal as far. But it's not real loud either. Like during the day for hours, it was a pretty loud cacophony of different things that you could hear. It's much more subdued here next to your group or near your group, and it was definitely really quiet down closer to the ship.
So I make sure to drop down behind the pop-up behind our fighter and before I start talking. And I say, well, it looks like it's abandoned. No
Look,
noise
as
was near
always,
there.
like a ghost.
Well, from the outside, there was no movement, but the more unsettling fact is that it is very quiet when the closer you get to the ship. In the forest, there seem to be no critters getting close to it.
I look at Blaze and say, we're definitely going to be heard if we come marching in.
I agree. Can can we make like a survival or a nature check or something to see if we, can think of, oh, the jungle always goes quiet when there's a Tarrasque in the bush or something. Can we do something like that?
Yeah. Each of you could. You've all had training, and part of that's been woods and jungle training. So yeah, we can do a survival check to see if any of you recall some reasons why you might think that.
Oh yes, we love you, Yaziri. Yaretsi.
Oh, nice. So Griselda and Yaretsi, you remember from your training, and it was obvious that maybe Blaze and Edgecliff weren't listening during that day, that lecture. There are things in the woods that birds and frogs and all of that, like wildcats, large creatures moving through. Also, you've known around the village areas every now and then there are packs of things like goblins or orcs and things that sometimes go through Veland, and it's very easy to, if you're paying attention while you're out in the jungly forest, to know when a group or a band of them is going by because everything has gotten really quiet. It's very similar to, just about any type of big predator is going to make those things kind of go quiet. Anything that, those things perceive as being a large predator. And actually, Griselda, you might even put forth, and that's just talking about natural causes. Obviously, there could be any number of unnatural reasons something, might go quiet.
Perhaps do an Arcana check and see if maybe something's magical around.
Yeah. If you can think of, give us a roll and see. That's a pretty good roll. So arcana-wise, there are magical energies that would silence an area. There are spells that will do that. And you do know that nature can sometimes react to large discharges of magical power. You don't have any evidence that that's what's happened here, but you know that those are some of the things that also might lend itself to the woods or the forest going quiet.
So possibly a large creature of some kind, by the sounds of it.
Well, we're here to investigate and explore. I think we found out that it's safe enough at least to approach. So I vote that we approach.
Good call.
Yes.
I'm going to hide behind you guys.
The DM votes that you approach too, because that's what he's prepared for the adventure.
Hey guys, let's turn around and go home.
Yeah, we're done. It's good.
Okay, so with Blaze at my side, if he's ready, I start walking forward, and you two can be right behind us.
So do you approach weapons out and ready? Do you approach nonchalantly, non-aggressively? What's the posture as you approach?
Great
Yeah,
sword like this.
I think I've got my shield in one hand, and I've got my my war hammer in the other. Not necessarily at the ready to swing, but definitely like by my side in my hand.
All right, so definitely looking like you're ready, though. Okay, so yeah. So you guys, and walking along the beach, or are you going to take the woods route?
I think walk along the beach for me, if that sounds okay.
Good idea. I like it.
Sure.
Okay. So you guys walk your way along the beach, and the first thing you come up to as you're getting closer and closer, and you probably smell kind of rotting fish. The smell of it gets a little bit stronger the closer you get to the fishing skiff. And that's the first thing you kind of come up to. Do you approach all the way up, or is there a certain point where you want to stop?
I'm not afraid of a skiff. I'll just keep walking unless someone who's much more perceptive than I kind of like puts a hand out or something.
Okay, yeah. So you guys have walked right up. You see no movement thus far, and you get up to the skiff. And when you're looking inside the skiff, you see a lot of fish in the center area. You see the paddles that are used to paddle this fishing skiff. You see nets that are used to catch the fish. But other than that, there's nobody in the skiff.
Could I do a perception or survival check to kind of see how long these fish have been dead? To gauge how long this boat's been here?
Yeah, everybody could do, if you're going to start looking around and you feel like you want to start investigating, like kind of trying to find clues, yep, everybody can do an investigation roll.
Okay. I'm not good at investigation, guys.
Yeah, Blaze isn't even going to roll that. He stands guard.
Okay.
Same. I keep an eye out at the ship.
Okay.
So I'm like poking at the fish. Totally.
Yeah, you're like these are dead fish.
They're definitely dead. Wait, let me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe for a day, maybe for 2 weeks could be dead fish. But Griselda takes a look at it, and she knows immediately. I mean, she looks at those fish and knows these fish have been out in the sun for exactly 1 day. I mean, almost down to the hour. She's like, these have probably been here for 17 hours.
No good for soup. Rotting.
Right.
Gross. Definitely a day. Definitely.
And then Griselda, the other thing you notice, everybody's kind of paying attention to the skiff. You actually notice, too, that you see footprints in the sand that appear to lead from this fishing skiff, and they appear to walk over to the other ship, and it looks like it goes into the big hole into the side is where those footprints lead to.
Look, guys, there's footprints. I can see them. Going into the sea.
I'm focused on the fish right now. Just let me.
He's still trying to figure out what kind of fish are these. I
What
know
are
I've had
they?
these.
No, Edgecliff looks over and looks at whatever Griselda's pointing at.
Yeah, so you see a set of tracks. They appear to be humanoid, booted. So, somebody wearing some type of boots or sandals of some sort. They don't look very big. They look, regular size, similar to like your guys' tracks on the beach. And they appear like they go from the skiff, where you can see some tracks where whoever this was pulled the boat up onto the beach further out of the water, and then it looks like that person walked over and then entered the hole in the fishing ship.
Well, I'm guessing this isn't somebody that's dangerous, because they're probably just fishermen that got washed up here and were seeking some shelter, or they were explorers themselves.
All right, there, fishy.
Maybe they're looters.
Possibility.
Let's go.
I vote, yeah, let's follow these footprints and head into the ship.
Yeah, so you guys walk over to the ship and you're getting closer to it. You hear the creaks of the ship as it's moving towards the water, and you can see kind of this big dark hole on the side of it. You can't even tell what would have caused the hole. It's a lot of rotting wood and such around it. As you move away from the skiff, the smell of the rotting fish starts to dissipate a little bit, so it's obvious that the smell is coming from the fishing boat. You see the tracks lead up to, on the beach, up to, and go inside basically the hull of the ship, but you also see a set of tracks that looks like some type of large object or large something is being dragged. It just has this big drag mark, and instead of going back to the fishing boat, it's being dragged up into the woods.
So they came in here and picked up something and dragged it out of the ship into the woods? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, Griselda definitely thinks that with her, and even your role isn't bad enough to even. Yeah, I mean that's the impression you're getting.
How big is the track mark of the object?
Probably something that was about 2 feet wide. It obviously was heavy because they're dragging it. It wasn't like they were just picking something up and then you just see footmarks. They're dragging something to the woods, and it's leaving about a 2 feet wide, maybe 2.5 foot wide dragging mark. But it's really hard to say what it might be from just scrapes in the sand.
Is it one continuous scrape, like a kind of one track?
Yeah. It's like it's heavy enough that this person. I mean, and your role is so good. I mean, in your head, you're envisioning somebody picking up one end of something. It must be heavy, and then dragging it up to the woods. But you don't see any other tracks other than those.
Okay.
Oh, puzzles.
Maybe
Do we want to go further into the ship, or do we want to follow this new set of tracks?
We should probably check out the ship first.
Yeah, don't need anything coming up behind us.
Yeah.
And maybe if we go in the ship, we can see if there's other objects, and maybe we'll know what they took.
Yes. Agreed.
All right, I'll lead. And I just start stomping off towards the ship. By the way, sorry, PB. This is another Greybeard-like character.
Another one. He only plays Greybeard. I don't know what you're talking about. So yeah, you kind of trudge your way in, and obviously the couple of the guys with armor are making more noise, but you're not really hearing anything. And the first thing you do is when you get into the hold, you can tell that you're basically in the bilge area of the ship. So what you see is the bottom of the ship, and you see all these spars that are all the different ribs of the ship. And just above your head appears to be some type of deck. And then a little further in, you can see where it's wet and water has gotten in. You see like a hole that appears to be it's like probably a 5 foot by 5 foot hole that leads up on top of what you would guess would be the bottom deck of the ship. And when you're looking in there, it's dark. There is enough light coming in from some of the holes, but it's still kind of dark. And the only thing you see in the bilge is water. You see stones, which are typically, you would know, are used for ballast to keep the ship a certain way. And this is kind of the very lower part. This would be a part that is not normally accessed very often in a ship.
Is there a way through that isn't we don't have to get wet?
No, you have to get your feet wet a little bit, even getting to the hole a little bit. It's not like it's deep or anything. It's maybe shin high when you get up to where the hole is, and then you step inside. And there's water in here, which looks like maybe the waves have put water in. There's always going to be some water in these wooden ships. That's just how they are. So you're going to be walking through like ankle deep water inside the ship too. And it is a salt water. This is an ocean, so it's all kind of salt water.
Well, do we want to slosh through here or climb our way to the top and work from top down?
I think for bottom up, right? If we climb up to the next level. eventually we'll make it to the deck.
All right, works for
There
me.
has to be a captain's quarters or something that might give us a clue to more about this area.
All
But
right.
that's going to be further up.
Blaze will leap in.
Yeah, so you go in and you walk through some ankle deep water, and then you get to the 5-foot opening, which is just a hole in the deck there. And as you kind of pop your head up, you can see that this is the bottom deck of the ship, and this is where you see old cargo netting. You see a few rows of broken barrels and such. So this definitely looks like the cargo section of the ship. And then it looks like there's some stairs that lead up towards the back that look like they lead up to the other deck. From there, you're not seeing any movement. It's definitely much darker here. There's not as many holes letting light in this spot.
Griselda, would you cast light on my shield? And I'm going to pop up with my shield and see if I can get a brighter look.
Sure.
Awesome.
So Griselda, she touches the shield and it glows with an amber light, like the area around it.
Cool.
And then I kind of pop my head up and lift my arm with my shield and kind of look around, see if I can get a better look.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about your shield. What shape is it? What kind of shield is this?
Man, let me look at my picture because that's going to help me. So it's a thick metal shield. And gosh, I didn't really think about this, but it's got actually it's not all metal. We'll say it's a thick wood shield with like a metal rim on the outside and some inlay bands of metal kind of holding the emblem of Loviatar in the center.
Nice. What
Which
is that
is
emblem? Yeah.
it's like a cat of nine tails.
Oh,
her.
nice. All right. So your shield is blazing in light in front of you. You're able to kind of light up the whole area as you get in. And yeah, you're definitely in a cargo area. But it looks like everything is just as rotted and cracked open as the ship itself. It looks old. You get the impression that it's just been worn and torn for a very long time. Nothing seems to be secured down anymore. Everything seems to be smashed open. Mostly it's just rotting wood. You're not really even seeing stuff like other stuff besides rotting wood as you climb up in there. Is anybody else going to jump up and investigate with them, or
Yeah.
so everybody kind of climbs up and in?
I'll ask Griselda if she can take a hand up the space.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
Oh, I asked Griselda. Basically, Blaze turns and he says, "Would you like a hand up?" And he puts,
Please.
Alright.
I wish I wasn't so short. You guys have wet ankles. I have wet thighs.
Yeah. And they're all hunkered over because the space to the first deck, there's probably only about 4.5 feet, maybe 5 feet of space.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of crawl or duck under in the bilge until you get to the cargo deck area. And the cargo deck area is probably a full 7-foot area. So if you're taller than 7 foot, you're bending over also.
Mm.
But yeah, so he lifts you up, and then Blaze climbs up behind. Again, still not hearing anything, and you guys kind of do a quick check of the entire cargo deck, and you come to a spot where you see a chest that has its lid open, and when you're looking at it, it's an old rickety chest. You see a bunch of gold pieces in the chest.
I'm not a particularly greedy person, but this looks pretty inviting.
Oh, alarm bells are ringing.
Can I check for traps?
You can't. It is open. It's already opened. But yeah, you can certainly go ahead and do a. You could do. Well, what role do you think you would want to do there? Your investigation check, or do you want to do something else for that? Look at the character sheets again.
Let's see.
Thieves' tools.
A tool check, maybe. I guess you could do that, but I would go with whatever you have the highest in.
Let's see. Well, I have eye for detail as part of my archetype, the inquisitive rogue, for those of you curious. And I can use, I guess, a bonus action to make a wisdom perception check to spot a hidden creature or object.
Yeah, I think
Or
that'd be a good
to-
use for it.
Or I could make an investigation check to uncover and decipher clues. So
Yeah. Yeah, pick one.
perception?
Yep,
I
whichever one you
will
want.
pick perception. Here we go. That's more like my rolls. Yeah,
So
that's
actually, that's still good enough. 10's good enough. So you're looking at the chest. It's obviously old. It's obviously been opened. There is no, when you're looking at the underneath of the mechanism, there was no trap on the underneath of the mechanism. The lock that was on it is laying kind of half open, and it looks like somebody has cracked it open. But you do recognize that sitting right next to it is a space for a very similar, if not exact size chest, but seems to be missing.
Oh. I relay that to the group.
So somebody opened this and it wasn't what they wanted. That's really odd considering it's full of gold.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
and with your check, your best guess is it's probably somewhere in the vicinity of 500 gold pieces in this chest.
Wow. Okay.
As one of my personality traits, I have thinking is for other people. I prefer action, so I start
also
getting
annoying.
Smash the chest.
I get a bag out or something, or start putting the gold in a container, other than this busted up chest.
All right, so you guys see Blaze get one of the sacks out that he has, and he's just stuffing the money into the sack.
I reach my hand in while he's doing this. I kind of just reach my hand in there. I'm not taking any gold, but I want to see like how deep it goes. And then I lift up and I kind of like coins fall out of my fingers.
Yeah, it goes to the bottom, and it appears that this chest was holding a bunch of these golden coins. You recognize some of the gold coins. Some are of different factions that maybe you've never seen before. Some are things you've seen traded with, so some of it is recognizable. They're not all identical. And so it's kind of an assortment of different gold coins. But they're all of similar shape and of the normal shape that would be used for trading all through the Sword Coast and all through these southern coasts.
When I get that first sack filled, I look over at Edgecliff and I'm like, I've heard that your kind can carry lots of weight. Would you be willing to tote this?
Yeah, and he easily picks it up and he's just like, well, this isn't lots of weight. And I store it with the rest of my stuff.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cool. So it only takes you a minute or two to fill up maybe 1 or 2 sacks of 500 gold pieces, and it's right around 500 gold pieces. You guys can write it down, but you now have several sacks of 500 gold pieces and an empty, rotted out chest, and that's about all you find in the cargo hold area. Everything else is smashed. Nothing else is even in there. Like there's not even like broke pottery or other trade goods or anything. That's all pretty empty. It's most of the containers are smashed and emptied in this cargo deck area.
Maybe they had finished trading all of their cargo and were heading back home. And that's why it's empty. Onward and upward.
Onward!
Yeah, so you guys see a set of wooden stairs that lead up to the main deck. And when you come up onto the main deck, so you're on the main deck and you can see up forward, there's a set of stairs that go up to kind of the front end of the area of the deck. And then the back end is like, you see a door that's been used to be a door. It's like half a door. It looks rotted and the same. Everything, and what's funny to you is probably it doesn't look like it's been disturbed in many years. And as you kind of take a look, you still don't see any movement, and it's obvious the back part of the ship, the aft part of the ship, is probably, like you said, some type of quarters area in the back, and there's another set of stairs that go up to the very top of that for being up on top of that area.
All right, I'll start heading towards the half door.
Okay. Yeah, so you go up to that. You kind of, it looks like the half door has just been rotted out more than anything. And you just, as you even just push the door a little bit, it just falls off its hinges from rot. And you look in there, and it's a cabin, but everything is just wood, rotted wood. You don't even see, it looked like like you think that pile of rotted wood probably was a dresser, but it doesn't even look or resemble like a dresser anymore. That pile of rotted wood and whatever might have been a bed or something. This pile of rotted wood could have been something else, but there doesn't seem to be anything else in here but just rotted wood and the decaying ship.
And I'll look back at everyone and I'll be like, gold doesn't rust. Let's check it out. And I walk in.
I'd follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just even after a few minutes, you even poke through all of the rubble that's in there, and you don't find anything else but more rotting wood, seaweed. That's about it.
All right. Let's keep
you
moving.
do get the impression that this is not a ship that wrecked like a week ago. Like you're not getting that impression at all. You're getting the impression of this ship has been in a bad state for years.
I look at Edgecliff and I don't say anything, but I start watching the floorboards more, just to make sure that if we're gonna start going up, that there's not soft spots where, I mean, I'm clocking in at over 200 some pounds myself.
Yeah.
So I'm checking for me, but I'm making sure for Edgecliff also. And let's keep searching.
Yeah, and you do see stuff like that. You see places where there's definitely weakness in the floorboards that they've used. So you're kind of moving around them. They're obvious, so it's not like too big of a deal. If you go back out of that room and then you go back up the stairs, you're up on top of that. This is the area where they kind of would steer the ship, and you see a broken wheel that they would use. It's also a place where they can keep lookout, and you see the masts are kind of broken and half turned over. Nothing up on the top. You have a good view of the cove at this point, and you can see down into the fishing skiff. There's nothing on the other side of the ship. You get a little bit better look at the tracks. And you can see, again, the tracks that lead to the hull of the ship and then go off into the woods, all the way back up into the woods. And even from up on this deck, which at the back one is even taller, you can see up on the forward deck, there's just nothing up there either. It's just, old rotted rope, is up there. There's lots of kelp and seaweed, lots of rotted wood, and that's about it.
I guess look towards the bow of the ship. Another room that quickly check that out.
Yeah, you look all over, and there's no other rooms up forward. It looks like it's just a place that stored things like the ropes and the sails and the rigging that they would use, but all of that's been rotted and is either gone off the ship or fallen off the ship or was taken off the ship. You're not really sure which. No other rooms that you're finding. No other signs of people. You're not seeing tracks or anything like that. Seems to be pretty empty.
Oh, I'm going to say mission accomplished, guys. It seems to be, we've cleared out everything in this creepy old ship. Perhaps we should explore into the forest.
Well, we know that they've got another box of...
And something probably more valuable than 500 gold pieces.
Yeah, let's go investigate.
All right.
So I think we're going to leave back down through the ship and follow the tracks, the large, wide track.
Okay. In your typical marching order?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll ask Edgecliff, do you think you could suffer to carry Griselda on your back through the water? She doesn't need a second soaking.
Sure, if that's what she wants to do.
Oh,
Right.
yes, please. She
So
hops.
I'll hoist her up and put her on my shoulder, I guess.
Okay.
Whee!
So everybody, as you're walking along the tracks and you're keeping an eye up to the forest, go ahead and make a history check.
Not good at those. Oh, but I did.
Oh, snap,
Okay.
Blaze. Beat my 19.
Yeah, 19 and 20 are really good. Perfect. And Edgecliff, not bad. 12's still pretty good. 12's are
I
not
totally
bad.
saw the 19 and thought it was mine. So
Yeah, I nailed it.
I was like,
So, Blaze, in a rare moment of paying attention to kind of what's going on around him, he's like, isn't there another town near here? And you realize that there is another town that's probably within a day's travel from here, knowing your geography. And Yuretsi, you actually are kind of nodding and confirming that, yeah, you guys are probably a day away from a town called, where's my locations here? Edgecliff. And even though the beach kind of winds along to the east, and then it goes south for a while, and then it winds back north again, and then goes east. So if you were to take a boat, it probably would take you longer to get to Edgecliff. But you guys are kind of, what strikes you as you're thinking about location-wise, it feels like you're almost like you're heading towards where Edgecliff should be, and it's probably only a day's walk through the woods, versus if you were to stay on the shoreline, it might take you 2 days to wind all around to get back around to it.
Well, this reminds me of the Isle of Dread. If we just cut straight through like a pterodactyl flies, we could get to Edgecliff in a day, I believe.
How
has
long
anyone
did
been
we
to
have-
Edgecliff before?
Good question.
Yeah, we'll go off of your. Probably that's why you have the history check. So we'll say two of you, Yuretsi and Blaze, have probably stopped in there, and you know that it is a small fishing village, much smaller than Saltbreak. Definitely more fishing structures, maybe a temple if you recall. There's some townsfolk there, very few merchants of any type. Definitely not like Saltbreak.
And this is the general direction of where those tracks lead, or have we lost those because
Yeah,
it's no longer in the
that's
sand?
that's probably what triggered the thing, is that the tracks are kind of leading towards that direction.
Can we tell how old the tracks are? Any of us? Did we determine that? When we
Nope,
were
somebody
looking?
would need to do a survival check. You might be able to pick up on how old these are. 15's pretty good. Oh, there you go.
Whoa.
Some big numbers
Nice.
coming out.
Pretty good.
A +7. Wow.
Ooh,
There you go. So all of you are like paid attention during tracking class, and all of you realize that, yeah, probably, and each of you are probably like, yeah, it was definitely maybe not a day old, and then Griselda says, nope, definitely 17 hours ago these tracks were made.
Very didactic.
I was seeing it. Yeah, I was seeing it like one-upping. Blaze is all like, "Here's the tracks. They're probably, I don't know." And then each person says something until Griselda's like, "Bam! Oh, that's awesome."
She's a wizard. Wizards are nerds.
Yeah, and you're definitely, I mean, you're getting such good rolls. You can tell all of you got pretty good rolls. It's definitely one person dragging something heavy into it makes it super easy on the beach. And even when you start to get into the woods, you can see it as it's broken leaves and branches, and the person is stumbling through the woods trying to make a near beeline towards what Blaze and Yuretsi thinks is towards Edgecliff.
well, I think I'll get my weapon at the ready, and we can start following this further. But I want to be prepared.
Okay.
How long did The lady who gave us this job tell us we had to come back?
She said that she would expect you back in a week.
Okay.
So you guys had like a 2-day travel to get there. She assumed, 2-day travel back. She wouldn't know how long it would take you to clear out or whatever it was. But, before that, they would maybe send a search party or send, a larger force down to see what happened.
And Forgotten Realms 10-day weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Well, we should be faster than this fellow.
Yeah,
And
so
they're
maybe we
fighting
can
something heavy.
catch up to him.
All right. So let's end our scene a moment as our party of Blaze and Edgecliff crash into the woods and begin to kind of follow this trail that's already being kind of blazed through this jungle forest, I keep calling it, with Yaretsi and Griselda bringing up the rear and keeping their eyes on everything that's around them. I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take our first 5-minute break to let everybody fill up their drinks or use the restrooms real quick, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes and we will continue into the dark jungle forest.
Cool. Sounds good.
See you in 5.
All right, jumping back into our adventure. We're all geared up. Griselda got us some drinks and some snacks, and we're ready to continue into the woods. So you guys are following the trail, and I think what we're going to do is everybody's keeping an eye out for looking for whatever this is they're following. So let's go ahead and do some perception checks from our party.
Oh, perception checks after I transition back to where we can hear.
Yay!
That was terrible.
We have people with wisdom. Yay!
Two super high ones, so that is not going to surprise you. But you hear something coming from your left. Let me go ahead and change the map. And
Oh, paddleboard.
we'll let you guys go ahead and put yourselves kind of in your walking order as you wish. To give you an idea. That seems
That's
fine.
pretty good.
The drag marks were kind of going in that direction as you were following them. So you guys can kind of move your tokens, I believe, and place them along the tracks as you wish there. And then we'll move on to the next piece.
Right in the bushes.
Yeah.
Maybe at the top of the tree. Okay, everybody feel good? So what we're going to do is the 220s are going to be able to act quickly, I believe. I'm going to give them one action of surprise. Uretzi and Edgecliff, you look to your left and you see something big approaching from the woods, and you kind of even point out and mention it to your party. Let me show you what's coming. There. I have to click on the right thing. And that.
Oh, from this side. Okay.
And then, so all of you can see, I'll say show to everyone. You see this, and although it is big, it's moving quietly, fast, right towards your group. Not making a ton of sound. Making
like
enough sound that you saw it. It is charging towards you, but the two of you that got a really good roll will get one action to react before we roll our initiative. So you get to do one action.
And that's me and Griselda, me and Uritzi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I'll cast. Am I familiar with this beast? Do I think it's dangerous?
Yes, you all are familiar with this creature that does frequent these jungle woods, and you know immediately that an owl bear is charging you.
I think I'm going to cast Chill Touch on it.
Okay.
Ooh.
So what you could
As
do
it's
is you can
approaching.
click on the spell, and then it should put it in chat for us. Yep, range of 120 feet. Awesome. But you do have to roll an attack.
So I roll a spell attack.
Yeah, so on your spell, I believe, is it on your character sheet under spells?
Yes.
Is it on the spell sheet, or is it in the... Let me open up the character sheet.
Oh, yeah. I think it is also. Hey, I'm learning. So, yeah, right here. So I'm going to roll this. Oh, terrible.
Okay, so let's go through this. Tell us what Chill Touch normally would look like. What do the players see as you look to your left, and then tell us what casting the spell looks like.
So I send out my hand, and then as I push my hand forward, a spectral hand comes out and push it and keeps going. So I push my hand forward, and this spectral hand flies out as well, and it shoots right towards the owlbear.
Yeah, and so it shoots out, and the owlbear makes a slight dodge move, and your spectral hand hits like a bush that's kind of near it, and you see the bush turn kind of icy and wilt, and then the owlbear continues on its course towards you. All right, Uretzi, you have one action, and then we'll have everybody roll initiative.
I am going to use, what is it called? I'm gonna use eye for detail as my action.
Okay.
As what that does, I mean, I guess I'll just copy and paste. Why not? Basically, what it gives me is we make opposing checks. I make a insight check, and the opponent, the owlbear, makes a charisma deception check. And if they fail it, I beat it. I can always sneak attack the person for a minute.
Nice.
Or the monster.
All right, so I have no specific deception check, so I'll just roll a charisma check, which is not good for an owlbear, but I'm going to try to roll it. So here we go.
Ooh, nice.
I rolled a 3.
I rolled a sweet 18.
So yeah, so you use. So is there anything visual? How does this look in game terms? What does this even look like, or what's happening in game terms? How do we explain this?
Basically, I've been taught so well, inquisitive. Basically, I've been taught so. This is what I've studied. So I've studied looking at somebody's fight technique or just their movement, and in just those 6 seconds, or however many seconds, I can tell. Oh, this is what they're gonna do. So I can always have an attack of opportunity, essentially, to hit them harder.
Okay, yeah, good. So maybe even cinematically, we're getting the you get the slow-mo camera that zooms into little parts that are vulnerable on the owlbear, and it's giving us the impression that Yuretsi is seeing these little spots and analytically saying, well, if I stab it here in the ear, this is good. If I do this here, this is good. If I do this, if I hamstring it, this is a good, and those things are kind of zooming in with the slow-mo camera as we see it. And then it pans back out and shows us the group. So now everybody can go ahead and click on their token. And then from your character sheet, once you have your token selected, you should be able to hit the word initiative, and it should roll everybody's initiative.
Why is my name all question marks?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Oh,
It's on
because
my
your
sheet.
token, when I saved your token, you hadn't put your name in yet.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
No, it's okay.
Amazing.
All right. So it
great,
looks
right?
like...
Am I really Blaze Emberheart? Stay tuned.
may
and
never
find
know.
out.
I'm going to move the track out of the way. Let's add in Griselda. I can do it manually. And then you rolled an 18. Keep things. And then my owlbear. An 11.
Ooh.
All right, so I think we're good. I think we want to sort descending. At the top of the round, Griselda gets to go first, so you get to...
Nice.
So on your turn, you have the possibility to do an action. You also get to do a bonus action if you have one, and you can do movement, and you can do them in any order you wish.
Okay.
And you can even break your movement up amongst them. So you can move like 5 feet, do something, and then keep moving.
Okay. Would that count as one action, or would it... So if I moved and then cast a spell, would that still be one action?
Yeah.
So
'cause
the spell is the action, the movement is its own thing. So you always get your movement, and then you always get an action, and you always have the chance for a bonus action if your character allows that.
Okay. If the owlbear's coming to the right, I'd probably best try and shuffle back a little bit. I can't select my character.
Oh, okay. Let's see if that's...
Go up to the little toolbar in the top left where you see the arrow, the ruler, the die, and the
Aha.
paintbrush.
Yeah.
Click on the arrow.
Oh.
And I'm going to move back a little bit. And I think I'm going to cast a spell, Firebolt.
All right. Firebolta.
at the owlbear.
So yeah,
So-
you should be able to click on it from your character sheet, and it should roll an attack to try to hit. And then you can
Cool.
give us a description of what does Griselda's firebolt look like once it rolls out. Oh, okay. So are you on the spell sheet? Is that what you're rolling from?
Yeah.
So if you go back to, let's see, let me get the character sheet open. So back on your regular character sheet under the core. Oh, I don't see the
Okay.
firebolt there. I see. Okay, I'll fix it for you. Firebolt. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
No, I wanted to read it again. I wanted to make sure.
The
We
text
want it
hasn't
to be
changed,
prepped
Yeah.
and yeah, I wonder why it didn't add it.
Do you have the spell card clicked instead of attack?
There we go. Try it one more time, Griselda.
From the spell sheet?
Actually, from your character sheet core now, it should be listed. Yeah, see how it says Firebolt?
What
In
you
attack
should
and
tell.
spellcasting?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of in the center area. Yep, attacks and spell.
Ah,
Oh, but it still didn't fill out. It's acting strange. Don't worry, that's okay. Sometimes that
And
happens.
yeah, sometimes it just does. You don't see the numbers.
Yeah, so, okay, let me look at the spell again just to make sure.
It won't pop up. Pop up.
So it's a
Oh,
1d10
roll.
fire damage, and you get your spell.
Well, you have to make a hit first, so it's a d20 plus something. What is it? Spellcasting? Spell hitting?
Yeah.
D20 plus, is it my intelligence modifier?
And proficiency.
And
Yeah, it's
And proficiency.
Okay, so that would be D20 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5. Okay,
Yep,
D20
so now it has
plus 5.
that. But now it's missing the damage, so let me get that in there.
Okay.
It's just a straight up
Damage
D10.
is a 1d10. So
Whoops! D20 plus 1 D20 plus 5. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, guys.
Oh,
Oh, you're
now
fine. We were all
yeah,
there
so
one time.
17 will hit. So the firebolt will shoot out and it will hit.
So now we need to.
So now you can kind of describe what it looks like. There we go. I think I've got
Okay.
it working now. Okay, good. And so tell us what it looks like as it goes out.
Okay, so Griselda kind of takes a step back. She pulls back her hand and she throws a mote of fire towards the owlbear as fast and hard as she can.
Cool. And now in the chat area where it says 9 and 15 and it says firebolt, you can click on the word that says firebolt. Does that roll the damage? And so it
Great.
does 3 damage. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, so the firebolt strikes the charging owlbear in its side. It singes off some of its feathers, but it does not seem deterred as it continues to charge the group. Yuretsi, you were up.
I will. Well, I'll move first of all. That sounds like a good plan. I'm going to move. These are all trees, right? That were around, or bushes?
All the things that you see are basically big trees, or there's a rock. So you have tree trunks, and then the tops of the trees are up in the air by 20, 30, 40 feet.
All right, so I will make my way over here to behind this tree. I'm assuming I'll be behind.
Yeah. We go one more down, and then you'd be behind the trunk of the tree. That would work. Yep, right there.
All right. And as I'm going, I'm taking out my weapon. I'm taking out a short bow,
Okay.
and I'm going to shoot owlbear, or owlbear friend.
All right, fire away.
If I were my sneaky short bow, I would be right there.
And a 20 strikes true.
And whew,
Oh,
that's sneak
That's
attack
a
damage,
ton
man.
of damage. Nicely done. So that arrow actually makes it stumble slightly as it buries itself up in the top shoulder of the charging owlbear, and it lets out a screeching owl sound as it continues its pace towards the group. But now that it kind of saw that, it definitely wants to come towards you now that you just sunk an arrow into it.
So I started here, right?
Yes.
And I moved down here, so that's 15 feet.
Yeah.
I have a climbing speed of 20. Would I be able to get up this tree?
Sure, with like a athletics check or a...
she has a
Acrobatics?
climb. She has a climb speed.
Oh, yeah.
She
Yeah,
just
climbing.
goes, just like walking for the rest of us.
I just do it. I just am.
Yeah, that's good.
That's awesome.
So I am now a tree cat. That is now my life.
Yeah,
All the
as
fire
you scurry
departments.
up.
Yeah.
Cat stuck in a tree.
All right. Any other actions? That's all your movement. You're up in the tree. So we have
And
high
I
confidence in the tree.
use, I don't know how effective it's going to be, but I use my bonus action to try and hide. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, you can roll a stealth check. Pretty good.
that
All
is my
right.
turn.
So yeah, we'll say the owl is charging. It gets hit by the arrow. You scurry up the tree. Let me do just a perception check. If it doesn't roll super high, it's not going to see you. So that would be this one. No, so it doesn't recognize where the arrow came from and doesn't see you scurry up the tree. So it's going to charge the main group. It can move 40 at this point. So can get to there for sure without using dash. So that seems close enough. He runs up and is going to try to swipe with beaks and claws at our Goliath, who is the closest he can get to. So, Edgecliff, you have a beak and claw coming your way. So the first one is a beak. And he rolls a 21 against your AC of...
Ooh.
What?
My AC is 17.
17, so it crashes through your armor, doing 11 piercing damage as the beak kind of chomps down on your shoulder. And then
That's
it tries,
like half my hit points.
and then it tries a claw attack,
Oh boy.
but it rolls a 10, and the claws scrape off your armor and are not able to penetrate.
Excellent.
All right, it has no bonus actions. That is all it has. So now it moves to Blaze.
All right. So the Blaze had his sword like so, and as he now suddenly realizes we're under attack, he kind of puts it to his side and he does this kind of military sidestep coming around Edgecliff. And as he does, he whirls the blade up high. And so I'll move into contact with said beast. And then I'm going to take a swing, but I'm going to reserve. Don't tell me if I hit or not. I'm going to swing first and then decide if I want to use a superiority die. What I am going to do, I am a great weapon master, so I'm going to take a -5 to hit and take +10 to damage. So, great sword. All right, I will not use a superiority dice. I'm going to hope that 15 hits.
Yes, a 15 will still strike true.
And this damage is +10.
Ooh. Nice.
So, like I said, military precision, and then he comes down and he's.
Yeah, so you put a nice big grievous wound on this this owl bear, and it screeches again an owl cry. If you ever heard a screeching owl before, that's the sound, just amplified in volume for the size of this thing. But it has not stopped fighting yet. Has several big wounds, a lot of blood coming out at this point, but it still seems to be moving. So any bonus actions or further movement?
I actually get to re-roll 1d6 because I'm a great weapon master, and I have the great weapon master feat, or two-hand weapon feat. So when I roll ones or twos, I get to re-roll that die. So I have 4 plus. They should have some kind of thing for this. And even if this is a 1, I have to keep it. And it is a 1. So I did 19 damage instead of 20. God.
Yeah, good job. He heals miraculously at 1 point.
Exactly. Son of a, that didn't hit as hard as I thought.
All right. So bonus action or further movement?
No, I'm gonna hold my ground.
All right.
Oh wait. How grievously wounded was Edgecliff?
He took a
I'm
big
okay.
hit.
I took a big hit, but I've got 13 hit points.
Okay. All right. All right.
So, all right.
Then I hold my ground.
Edgecliff is up.
I am going to do an attack with my warhammer.
All right. So Warhammer
So I
comes
swing
out,
at it.
easily punching it in the side of the ribs with your Warhammer.
And then as my warhammer connects, some necrotic energy from my body like siphons down through my hammer and attacks it. And I'm going to use my Channel Divinity Touch of Death ability for an extra plus 11 damage.
Okay.
And so this is plus 11.
So plus 11. 21?
19?
19. Oh, duh. Wow. It takes a huge hit. It stumbles. It barely catches itself. It's breathing heavy. It looks very feral at the moment, but it has not gone down.
Oh, man. And then I think I'm going to move back a couple squares, and he'll probably get an opportunity attack against me, but I'll take it.
Okay, yeah, he'll get one swipe at you. But go ahead and move. You can move there. His claws will reach out and using his reaction to try to get to you.
Oh my god.
Oh, he rolls a 23, which bypasses your armor for 19 slashing damage.
I'm down, guys. I'm down.
TPK.
That owlbear's dynamite.
TPK. So you go unconscious and you probably make it 1 square away as you fall unconscious. And we'll just put that on you there. We'll put a little symbol on you. And so you see them fall. Yeah, you see them fall. And the owl bear lets out a screech. And we're back to the top of the round. So Griselda, it is your turn. You have seen an arrow hit into it. You've seen a greatsword slash it. You've seen a warhammer hit it. But you've also seen a party member go down for the first time ever.
I'm gonna kind of move quite far away. So I think I might move down here. 25 feet's my limit, isn't it?
So like a movement, if you do just movement, you can move 25 feet and still have an action. Or you could choose to take a dash, which means you could move double, but you wouldn't have an action after that.
Okay, I'll move 25 feet, which puts me about here, I think. And I'm going to try another fire.
All right, another firebolt.
Yeah. So I can go into the compendium and drag and drop, can't I, in feature reference? future reference.
Yeah, so that you don't have to try to set it all up yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I've got it set up for you now. So I think if you click on it, it'll do the roll. Yeah, so it does a 13. A 13 is good enough to hit.
Hey.
So you get to hit the word firebolt over there in the chat and see how much damage you do. 3. Amazingly enough, this firebolt streaks out from your hand, hits it in the eyeball, and you see it fall over.
Good things come in small packages.
Yeah, and you see it kind of give a big heave. The last breath fades out of it. You can smell burnt, cooked chicken smell, kind of. A little bit it reminds you of. Not quite, but a little bit. And it appears to no longer be moving.
Oh, bear, tastes just like chicken. Oh, God, I
Ah,
write that
I'll
down.
remember that for my soup. Okay, we should check on our fallen.
Blaze will say something like, "Do either of you have healing magic?"
No, that was him.
I don't have healing magic, but I'm proficient in medicine.
Yeah, so a
for it.
medicine check can stabilize him, which will mean he will not have to make death saves for his character. So each of you could try to do a medicine check. You need to get higher than a 10, and then you would be able to stabilize him.
Yay!
Yeah, so Griselda, our halfling, is able to run over, remember her training from the Salt Break Adventuring Company and how to bind wounds. You're able to stabilize him so that he is comfortable and no longer bleeding out. Edgecliff, go ahead and give us a 1d4. So you could just type in the chat /r space 1d4 and it should roll for you. So you have 1 hour of unconsciousness before you will awake, unless somebody has some type of healing ability to negate
So
that.
as they were staunching the wounds, I was digging in my pouch and I pull out a potion and I'm like, we couldn't possibly lug him through this jungle. And I pop the cork and give him the healing potion. So
so he drinks the healing potion, so it should be 2d4 plus something, correct?
4 plus
4?
I
2, 4.
can't remember if it's 2 or 4.
Let me look.
Health. What time of day is it?
Oh my gosh, the dice
Healing.
hate me today.
It is getting close to nighttime. You guys found the ship maybe an hour or two before dusk, and we're into the woods, and you're probably now maybe an hour from dusk. But Edgecliff, you're able to get 7 hit points back as you feel the healing abilities of the potion work its way through your body and begin to heal the wounds that you've suffered. And really, in some ways, in your mind, you might be happy with how hard you've been hit.
Absolutely. This was a great day for Leviatar.
He's like, let's do this every day.
So much pain in honor of her. And also in honor of her, I'd like to cast Healing Word on myself.
Yes. As your boon,
take more damage.
As your reward for being able to survive taking so much damage.
So I'm going to do it as no, Cure Wounds is what I want to do, sorry. So I'll do this as a 2nd level spell, so I'll have 2d8.
Okay, roll them up. So you can roll /r 2d8. You should roll it.
Plus my Wisdom, which is 3, I think. Okay.
14 more. So go ahead and tell us what's this, because this is the first time we've seen Cure Light Wounds from Edgecliff. So tell us what this spell looks like when you cast it.
So when I cast it, it's kind of it's a touch attack. So I kind of touch my wounds and stuff, and this hurts a lot. Like all of my spells hurt, even the healing ones. So as I touch myself, I scream out like "Rah!" as this wounds kind of heal up and stitch themselves back together across my body.
But painfully, that's awesome.
But painfully, yeah.
It's kind of like the Wolverine thing, right? When his claws come out, even though he has healing factor, it's still painful for his regeneration. Yeah. Nicely done.
And for future reference, it is 2d4 plus 2 for healing potions.
Yeah. I always forget for some reason. But yep. All right. So Edgecliff is now up, has some hit points. We can take the little thing off him there. And you guys have a dead owlbear next to you. What does the party do? We are no longer in turn order, so we can be done with that.
I mean, I don't think there's anything on the owlbear, but I mean, can I try to see if there's anything
When you
on the owlbear?
search, you don't see anything that it's carrying or anything like that. It would be possible to take trophies or trinkets. Actually, Griselda, you're probably thinking about not necessarily going through the whole butchering process, but the idea of maybe if you kept a few of the things that it might you've never had a chance to cook with something like this, so you're maybe interested in what it might be able to be turned into.
Yeah, it smells like chicken. Let's see.
Definitely that, or you get like a turkey, or definitely that kind of roasted bird smell that just is mouth-watering.
Well,
Yeah.
it is almost nighttime. If you want, we could stay here. And you can have your way with this owlbear.
Whoa!
Sounds like a good idea. I'll set up the pot.
And I'll do the whole owl bear claws thing. I'll snap some out and keep those.
I just pluck some feathers.
Yeah,
Or even
there's
pick up
some
some feathers.
cool feathers on it that you see that are definitely, souvenir type stuff that's not being too grotesque or anything.
Yeah.
Like some of our other characters in unmentionable campaigns.
Yes.
All right, so you guys set up your camp. Griselda begins to experiment with cooking, and maybe she even is less alert than normal because she's so excited about the new ingredients and things that she's going to be able to try for this meal. You guys get your camp set up, and it is the sun is going down. You have a hearty meal that's being fed to you. You go through your watch order, and Blaze starting out, then wakes Edgecliff up, then wakes Griselda up, then wakes Yuretsi up. Goes uneventful. Oh, and the first thing you do notice too is that once the owlbear has died, you begin to hear the tree frogs again. You begin to hear the birds. You begin to hear the normal sounds of the jungle once again.
Ooh.
And it's an uneventful evening, unless any of you want to do some type of RP scene. We will move on to the next day.
And this resets everything, by the way. All your spell slots come back. All your health comes
This
back.
was a long rest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless you guys decide not to rest that long, if you're trying to catch up to the other person. But my assumption is that you're taking a full night rest.
So do I get all my hit points back as well, or?
Yep.
You do.
Sweet. Cast that spell for naught.
Well, something could have attacked us at night.
That's true. That's true.
And I used the potion thinking, I don't know if there's another owl bear.
Well, thank you for that.
So,
Although it doesn't have the same painful healing qualities that it should. That
I
potion.
know. It's defunct. I gotta buy them somewhere else.
It's all pleasure.
Gotta
Evil,
find somewhere with
nasty
nettles,
pleasure.
man.
Exactly.
All right, so morning wakes up. Yuretsi wakes everybody up after, and everybody probably sleeps pretty well from that surge of adrenaline, a battle in the woods. You might all even reflect on your first battle, on your first mission, and then you remember that you're following these tracks that seem to lead towards Edgecliff, the village. All right. So the day winds on. You're following the tracks, and it's about midday when you kind of come through the clearing. You're a little bit near the shore again, but the first thing you notice is it appears that there must have been some weather out over the ocean, as it seems like a fog has begun to set in. And it's limiting your vision probably to about anywhere from 30 to 40 feet out as you see the the kind of, it's like this misty, fog. And you guys are used to it being from, a seaside town on the southern end. You will often get fog banks that come in, and it's a pretty, recognizable nautical thing that happens quite often. So it's nothing that alarms you. It's something that seems to happen. And as you're getting closer to Edgecliff, this fog has rolled in off the ocean. All right. So let's bring you over to that. So you guys should be up in the top corner. Is everybody able to see their person and have some vision?
Ah, there we are.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've kind of come out of the woods. You see where the tracks have dragged it in, and it's met up with the road that seems to lead south down into the town. And this is a road that two of you have traveled before. And you see the recognizable building kind of come out of the fog is the first thing you see. And you guys can rearrange yourself in your walking order there. And that first little building you see is a watchtower that they have in the village. And it's kind of in the fog. You see the bottom portion of it, but you can't quite see the top of it as the fog kind of rolls in. And it's actually even a little cool, a little cooler than normal.
Are we still following the drag marks?
The drag marks led right up to the road, and then, it appears to be like it got dragged down the road.
I guess Blaze will forward and, kind of try to get a look up into the tower there and maybe give out a hail.
Yeah, so you get a little closer to the tower, and as you get closer to the base of it, you can finally see the top of it. And it's kind of an open area at the top, and it just has a railing around it. It's not like a wall or a building or anything. It's more like there's a ladder that leads up to a railing on the top, almost more like a ranger station kind of thing. But you don't see anybody up there. So when you get probably this close is when you can see up there. There's nobody up in the watchtower.
I look over my shoulder like, that's odd. I don't say anything. And
actually, everybody else go perception check now, too. As you say the words, that's not odd, or that's odd. Ooh, you guys are alert. Good. Waiting
You're
for
still thinking
Blaze.
about the owl bear, man.
Oh, I assumed I was already woke, percepted.
All right. So Edgecliff and Yuretsi, you recognize once again everything has gone very quiet, and you're walking into a town, but you are not hearing town sounds. It sounds very quiet. You hear from out in the fog, and you're not sure where, but just in the in this kind of general direction, just out here in the darkness, you hear some sounds like creaking of wood, maybe shuffling of feet, maybe probably like wind blowing a door or something that keeps flapping in and out, but you're not hearing people talking, you're not hearing animals, you're not hearing, the typical sounds that you hear of a town as you walk into a town.
Oh, well, that's worrying.
Same as the boat, though, too. I wonder if whatever object this person has is affecting the nearby.
True, but this was the town. People lived here.
Yeah, this tower and stuff isn't like aged and covered in seaweed and all that, right? It looks like it's been used and is being used.
Yeah, and Blaze was one of the ones that has been here before, so it looks the same. You don't see any damage. It doesn't look any different than it did before. you certainly have probably a hesitant, ominous feeling in yourself. The idea that you've got here just as a fog has rolled in. It's colder than you think it really should have been for the day. But if a storm has come in off the ocean, it's not unheard of strange weather in these parts. So, but it makes you wary because it's happened. You're not a person probably that seems coincidence, but is it?
And this is like midday.
I'll move
Yeah,
forward and ask Blaze if he wants to scout forward with me.
Let's do it. Then
So yeah, you wanna as you walk through here, if you're being cautious, then you want to move. If that's what your character's doing, then to show that physically, you probably want to move your tokens maybe 3 to 4, and then if you're going to rush right in, then you can move a big number, and we'll see. But if you're cautiously moving around, just kind of ease your token around, and when you want to stop and ask about something, let me know. You'll see stuff as it uncovers.
Oh, that's really cool. Sorry, I haven't played a lot of Roll20 games, so this is neat.
Yeah, I thought I would throw in a dynamic lighting map for fun.
don't. There's something.
So if you want to step back just a foot, you at the edge, right there at the edge, you would have seen shapes shuffling out in the fog that appear to be humanoid, but you're not getting any real detail. And then, for the two that are up front, give me a stealth roll
Oh, I can't wait.
with disadvantage because of your armor, I'm sure. Yeah, so you guys are making noise. All right, but let's see. You never know.
The ground shakes at Edgecliff's passing.
Oh, one did not
my
pay attention.
God.
But the other one.
Oh, never mind.
But the other one hears you, and they turn. And when the one turns, the other one sees that one turn, and then it turns, and they appear to have turned towards you and have moved a little bit towards the noise. And then let's have everybody roll. Oh, wait, let me get... Everybody select your token, so click on your token first, and then go ahead and roll initiative.
Uh-oh. There it is.
Oh shit! Look at us.
Woo!
Just remember the ones in the back and don't know what's happening.
All right, Griselda's nailing all these. She gets to go first. She's like, I'm new, and you guys are making me go first on all of it. So 22s are a tie. So when we have a tie, we look at the character's dexterity, and whoever has the highest dexterity gets to go first. So who has the highest dexterity of Griselda and Yuretsi?
I have a 15.
14.
All right, so let's shift that like that. And we are ready to go. So, Yuretsi, you're leading us off at the top of the round. You see shuffling shapes.
Where?
Do you see them? You might not even see them.
Is that the edge
You
of the
hear
token?
them. Yeah, you hear right at the edge, you hear footsteps. And you see your party member stop as if he's seen something.
Okay. I would like to... What are some cool things I can do? I can hide. That's what I can do. I'm going to shuffle over here.
Ooh.
Can I shuffle there stealthily? Is that something I could do?
Yeah, you could hide back where you were first. You could use your hide action and then move.
Oh, okay. I'll do that then. I don't know why I moved myself back for that, but I will,
Hey.
All right, so 15.
I move back.
That's the way I'd do it. Come on.
I move back and I would like to be at the edge of this guy. I just, That's not how the squares work.
You sneak through and you're able to kind of use the bush and it looks, you can tell they're looking at Blaze, and they have not. When you sneak over there, you've noticed they have not seen you sneak over there.
Okay, I would like to ready an action.
Okay. What is the trigger?
Let's see. Actually, for my bonus action, I would like to use, no, I already used hide, right?
Yeah, hide would be your, I think for your rogue, you get it as a bonus action, right?
Yeah. So
you have a normal action, which you can hold, and you did movement.
I will ready an action, and if one of these figures gets into combat with either Blaze or Edgecliff, I will shoot it.
All right, short bow, I assume?
Yeah.
All right, holding your short bow out, arrow knocked, waiting to see what happens. Griselda, let's see what you can see from where you're at. So again, towards the bottom here, you hear some shuffling movement of feet. You've noticed your party members have stopped as if they see something, even though you don't have really good vision of what they might see.
Okay. I have a feature called Naturally Stealthy, and it says I can attempt to hide even when only by a single creature that is at least one size larger than me. So I was wondering if I could hide behind someone and have a further look.
Yeah, you could move over towards the Goliath, who would be basically one size bigger than you, and you'd be able to hide behind him as part of that feature.
Yeah, I'm 7 feet tall, so.
Are you on the far left? Remind me.
Yep, that'd be this one.
And technically, she could hide behind any of us. We're
Yeah.
all medium, and she's small.
Okay. I'll stay here for now. So what can I see from here?
Right at the edge, it's all you see is a silhouette, humanoid silhouette with no detail in the fog. Seems to be shuffling forward, but they're not close enough for you to make any detail yet.
Okay.
It's okay too if you're not sure what you want to do. A hold action just means I don't want to act now. I want to hold my action, but then you have to tell me, okay, if this happens, then I'll do this.
Okay. I'll probably do that then. And if we're attacked, I'll cast sleep on whatever is coming towards us.
Okay. So you kind of begin to mentally ready the components and the verbal and somatic part of the spell sleep as you get ready, and you're waiting to see an aggressive creature attack your party before you cast it. All right, so you're on hold there.
Yeah.
These creatures get to go, and they hear the noise of the armor, and so they are going to move 5, 10, 15, 20. Definitely come right up to you. 5, 10, 15, 20. 25. Who was the worst stealth? Was it?
Oh, it was me.
Edgecliff. So actually, yeah, let's do it this way. They go to you first. They come, and once they see you, not only do they hear you, that's what gets them walking your direction. The moment they see you, they run at you and they look like humans, but something's wrong with them. Something has happened. And so let me give you guys another show the players.
And can I shoot them before they attack?
Oh.
Yeah, you will get to shoot them before they attack. So this is just an example as you see both of them. One is male, one is female. They were human, but now they seem to have some type of coral or plant growth or something has infected them or is growing out of them or something is going on as they come at you, and their eyes are weeping and they look very aggressive and they have a very aggressive posture as they come at you. And that would be for those that you were going to hold, would allow you to hold. So, Yuretsi, you're allowed to let your arrow fly.
Okay,
You
and
get to choose a
because
target.
they're within 5 feet of one of my allies, I get sneak attack. And because I'm hiding, I get sneak attack, right? And I shoot the one with the black background.
Okay. Yep, the male villager.
Where my sneaky short bow? There it is. Yeesh.
It sinks into the back of the villager. You see the arrow sink into the back.
Oh, okay.
8 piercing damage is pretty good.
Yeesh. 2 ones. Oh well. And okay, sweet.
And you see him stumble forward just before he gets to Edgecliff, and he goes to a knee, puts his hand on the ground, and then slowly rises up, and it looks like he's still trying to take a swipe at Edgecliff. But he does have a wound buried, or an arrow buried in the back of his solar plexus area.
Ooh.
Oh, that's not what I wanted. All right. So now the other held action would be Griselda. You are able to fire off your sleep spell. So first you can click on your sleep spell, which should put it in chat, I believe. And that way all our audience can take a look at it also. Yep, so it's a 90 foot, and let's bring sleep up just so I remember it.
I was like, is that going to hit us?
Good roll. Well, she can arrange it so it'll only hit them.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's a large circle, I believe.
So each creature inside a 20-foot radius sphere entered on a point within... Yeah, so she can... So let me do this. Let me put a... Let's draw a...
That's
shape.
control.
And I want...
Alt. Alt control.
Yep, Alt Control.
Alt. I always forget. I never use them.
And then I think... Once I have it, I can make it bigger. So
That's
5,
such a
10,
good roll, though.
15...
8, 2, 7, 6, 7. Whew.
5, 10, 15, 20. So that's 20 feet across. Might be kind of like this. All right, where would you like me to place the circle for you?
In the thick of it, kind of here.
So
Right.
even if you just get the edge of them, it'll count. So it doesn't have to be right on them either. So it's
Yeah,
something
you
like
don't
Yeah.
want to put me to sleep.
Catch it. I don't want anyone else to fall asleep, just those guys.
Okay, yeah. So those two definitely take it. So now what we do, the sleep spell is a little different in these levels. You roll the number of hit points that it's going to put to sleep, and then I have to, as a DM, just explaining it for those of you that haven't seen this before, I go to the first creature within the 20-foot radius that has the lowest hit points, and they have to be the first one that goes to sleep. So the first one that goes to sleep is the guy with the arrow in his back, because he has the lowest hit points, and so we use up a little bit there. So let's use that icon. He's sleeping, falls to the ground, and begins to sleep. And the other person will use up the other portion and also falls to the ground and is now asleep.
Nice.
And
Cool.
now the fire the rest of the spell dissipates and nobody else is affected. And now their turn would have ended with them just getting close enough to try to attack Edgecliff. Their turn is over, which brings us to Edgecliff.
Oh, I'm so conflicted. I don't know what to do. Do we attack
Now
them and
you
take
do
care of
know,
this?
yeah, here's the thing that you guys do know because you've worked together before. You do know that hitting them will wake them up. But if you don't wake them up, they'll be asleep for quite a while.
I think I'll just leave them asleep then.
I'd say don't touch them.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave them asleep and give a thumbs up to Griselda. Like, oh, nice work. and then maybe I will move a little bit forward and kind of see if I can see anything else in the town.
We've worked
Should be-
together, so pretty much we'd know that the arrow sticking out of the back of the one guy is indeed Yaretzi's.
Yeah, you would recognize her arrows.
All right. The other really cool thing about the dynamic lighting is that circle is just around you, so you can't see what the other people are seeing and stuff. So that's just awesome to be able to play, a game in that kind of
Wait,
detail.
don't move. Can I see that, Lucian?
You can see whatever you
Is
see.
there? What you just moved? So before, I was going to say it, I was just letting Greybeard finish talking. But before anyone moves, the moment I see those things pop out, I make myself visible to whoever can see me. I'm assuming Blaze, maybe Elgath. And I wave my arms to get their attention. And I hold out a fist, like saying stop. And I say at least 2 with my hands, like a flat hand, and then 2. And I point towards the southwest from where I am.
Okay.
I almost
So there's
wait-
just
So we're still in combat then?
Nope. We'll be out of combat for now, so you guys can move freely or talk freely or
Okay.
whatever you're doing. Combat just for those, 6 seconds is a combat round. So at the moment, we don't need to be in combat round.
Okay. So I'm assuming there's some more people down there thanks to Yaretzi.
Yeah, and what you see, Uretzi, is you see what happened is they seem to be shuffling. They weren't looking your way. They didn't notice you, but you still see figures shuffling at the edge of the fog.
okay. And so I motion for them to get behind that house that's south of Algert. That guy. So we can reconvene.
I follow and listen. Or I listen and get behind the house.
All right. And the moment I see Blaze go, I'll sneak around. I'll just take like a wide circle to get behind them.
Okay.
And this time, not behind Blaze. Not freaked out.
in the fog, just furred shadows moving around. Okay, yeah, I gather up.
Freaking Greybeard. And so once we're all here, I say I saw at least 2 other of these things shuffling. It did not seem like they heard us as of yet. But I think we should take great caution. Looking at Blaze.
Obviously, these were people.
And then
I don't want to end up like them.
from the darkness, from the fog down here in this direction where I'm pinging out in the darkness, you hear the scream of a villager break the silence.
Well, that's disturbing.
So that means there's still people alive here then. Or not these things. Before we go and be heroic and things, what do we do with these infected? Do we kill them? Do we want to knock them out?
Can I do a medicine roll to see if they can be healed or saved?
Yeah, absolutely. You were looking at this, and this is something you've heard of in the temple. You think these people have it results in what it looks like as an infection, but you think it's due to some type of spell or curse or ritual that's been performed, and that it may be possible to reverse it if you could stop that spell, stop the ritual, or stop the curse in some way, whatever it might be. It's definitely magical in origin, you can tell.
Would I be able to do an Arcana check and get more information?
Yeah, you certainly could. And you can tell these are definitely villagers they have village clothing in, fishermen and such. So it's definitely villagers, and something has happened to them. And yep, nothing seems to be coming to mind, Griselda. You're probably agreeing with him, but you don't have anything to say definitively one way or the other.
Okay.
Do they seem undead?
I tried.
No, they are not undead.
Oh,
You
okay.
know that immediately. They are infected in some way.
Well, we might have to bash a few heads, but I have the spell Spare the Dying, so if we have to fight our way through any more villagers, I can heal their wounds so at least they won't perish, and we can try and stop this. I think there must be some kind of magical ritual that's causing all of these villagers to change. It might be linked to what was stolen from the ship.
I agree.
You see Blaze in his brain, bag, coins, grabbed them, dough. Like, maybe we shouldn't have touched
Oh.
Oh, Davy Jones, why?
Exactly.
I
So
suggest
we definitely need to explore and try to find the center of this evil magic.
we go from the outside in, not just charge into the city town, and maybe see if we can find any of these screaming alive villagers. I assume all these things will now be shuffling towards them.
Well, then we should save those who can't save themselves.
So let's take this outside. I don't know. I mean, we've been to this town before, right? Me and Blaze.
Correct.
How much do we remember about the setup?
You know that it's a circle of buildings is in the center. The road arcs around in basically a circle. And then towards the bottom of that circle, away from you guys, is the dock area and the lookout tower. The main buildings are probably just to the south of you, with more residential area probably in let's see. In this stuff here is probably the residential areas and the inns. The center area is more of the merchants and the markets and the town hall and the temple. And then further down would be the fishing stuff, the docks, and probably another tavern.
Okay. So I say, I look at Blaze as to confirm, and I say, if I recall, this road down to our southwest seems to be the more residential home area, and down the middle is where we have all the other stuff, including a temple. If that sounds like what you might be looking for, Alga.
And the scream you can continue to hear is coming from here, and you can hear the woman is yelling, "No, don't let me go."
Well, I think we have to help.
Yeah. So
Are we heroes or not? I head off that way.
straight, please, God damn it.
How do you make the little arrow for your
If
thing?
you on the left-hand side toolbar, there is like a comb, but it's actually supposed to be a ruler. And when you switch to that,
okay.
it becomes a ruler.
Yeah.
And then,
Interesting.
obviously, there's a dice roller under that, and
1, 2.
So, Blaze, you see figures in between the buildings near the central area, and you recognize that as being kind of the central market area. Yuretsi, you're seeing them, and they appear to be watching. They're looking to the south. They are not looking at you guys approaching from the north. So they do not see you.
all right.
And the screaming is happening a little bit south of them.
Do you want to get their attention with an arrow, Yuretsi, or?
I could do that. Yeah, sure. And I climb this building.
Okay. Yep. You get up on the roof. It's about that part of the building is probably just one story, but you're able to sit up at the top of it and you get a good view. And now that you can see, you see two of these villagers that are in the fog. Nobody's looking at you yet. Are dragging what appears to be another villager towards the central well in the middle of the village. They're dragging you to it.
So I take care to hide, and I knock an arrow, and let's see, who do I have a shot on from up here? From that guy.
You probably all of them. There wouldn't be cover for any of them.
Okay, I shoot at that guy.
Okay.
The one where the ragdoll is.
Yeah.
Be this sneaky, and because I'm hiding, I have advantage on the shot, right? Is that how that works?
Do you get advantage? I don't know. We don't have a rogue in our other campaign, so
I know.
what's the rule on that? Hiding gives you. Well, let's look. So we can use the compendium. So hiding. Ability scores. Hiding. Yeah, you can gain advantage on an attack roll before you are seen. So in some circumstances, a GM can say you're hiding so the creature doesn't see you, which would allow you advantage on the first attack roll. So yeah. So you get advantage on the first one.
Sneaky short bow, go. 17.
Oh yeah, thunk straight where you were aiming. Yeah.
And
Nice.
14 damage.
Yeah. It careens off of its feet back into the fog as the arrow just sweeps it right off its feet, and you don't even see it anymore.
You see me like do that, you know, when like an animal knows it did something bad and they just like sort of shrug down, ears down. I do one of those like, oh, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Okay.
And now everybody can click on their tokens, and we will do initiative as the combat has started.
Oh my gosh, my initiative rolls this whole game.
We should play this game always. God, look at these rolls. I've never seen these numbers before.
That's better. There we go.
All right, top of the round, Blaze. An arrow has streaked out, swept off. You might not even be able to see that, but if you're peeking around the corner, you might have seen it.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. So you see one of them that was dragging the woman villager is taken off its feet by an arrow. And you get to react at that point. These things haven't even had time to react to that happening yet.
I am having issues interacting with token for.
Make sure you're on your arrow, not the.
Yeah,
Not the
even
ruler.
when I'm doing it correctly. All right, as I step around the corner, he says, "Unhand that woman," and then steps in and lets this guy have it. With the, I'm gonna go ahead and do the flat of my sword, so I'm doing knockout damage or whatever.
Yeah. You can choose to do non-lethal damage. Yep. On a melee attack. Unfortunately, a bow, you can't choose that. But
Yeah.
A little pillow on my head.
And yeah, 13 will hit. And you see that one go down also.
Okay.
Bonus action or further movement?
Yeah, if this is the well here,
Yes.
and that's what they were dragging her to,
Yes.
all right, then I'm gonna move.
In fact, probably the one that got shot off had the bucket from the well and was trying to pour the water from the bucket into the woman's mouth.
All right, and then that's as far as I can
Yeah.
get.
Okay. Yuretsi,
Oh,
you're
shit.
back up.
Back to me. I sort of don't want to get off of this building. This is such a nice vantage point. I can move fast anyways if they need me. So I will attack again. Helga can take care of them, right? Yeah, totally. I attack the other fiend holding the ragdoll.
Okay.
Sneaky short bow. Whatcha?
Yeah, I would say an 11. So the villager tries to jerk away from the grasp of the infected villager that's still holding her. Just at the moment you've shot your arrow, and the arrow misses.
Am I still
the
hiding?
infected villager. Nope. They were not once he. Well. Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Yeah, I think we could still be hiding. I don't see why you wouldn't.
Okay.
Well, let me do this. Let me roll a perception check. So an arrow went through. Would that thing be able to figure something out?
Huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they know you're up on that roof now.
Okay.
So you'd get regular attacks at this point.
Okay. So for my movement, I go 5, 10. How tall is this building?
Just one story, so it's probably only about. I mean, the roof edge is probably 6 feet up, maybe 7 feet up.
Oh, so like not even have to think about jump.
No, not even.
And I did measure it. You could jump from one of those roofs to the other, as long as you don't have like an 8 strength.
Oh, snap. You know what? I like that idea. Good call, Blaze, as I hear in my head. And 15. Yeah, I like this angle. And I will actually, let's move back one, and I'll use my. Actually, let's move there, and I'll use my action to hide. My bonus action to hide.
Okay, so you'll try to hide again. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So stealth roll. All right.
All right. That is my turn.
turn. Griselda, you are up. Your things are happening in the dark in the fog below you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move down, but again, I'd like to try and do so without these creatures seeing me. This creature seeing me, so I'm gonna try and move around here,
Okay.
but kind of try and hide around the side of the building.
Yeah. So do a stealth roll as you make your way sneakily up to the corner. Yeah. So, and you're able to use kind of like the edge of the building, and they're looking at Blaze, and they're looking up on the roofs or trying to find where Yuretsi or the arrows are coming from, even if they're not quite sure. They just kind of know a general direction, and you've noticed that they have not seen you kind of sneak up to that corner.
Okay. I'm quite. Let's see. I might try and cast sleep again, if that's possible.
Okay, and on you probably could get all 3 of them.
Okay.
So the 2 infected and even the non-infected, and still probably not hit Blaze if you want to try that.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right, so the lowest one is the villager. She goes to sleep first. So you rolled a 24. Yeah, they all would go to sleep.
Yay.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. So they are all asleep. So you guys are in the center area. You see some of these infected. You see the villager. They were trying to pour buckets of water on her. But you see nobody else around. And you hear nothing else at this point.
And I look over to Elgith and I'm like, so there's a villager down there that I sort of kind of killed. If you could like
Yeah, I walk over to this one and cast Spare the Dying.
Okay.
So they're still out, but or no, that was non-lethal damage, right? It was this one over
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yeah, the bottom
yeah.
one.
So I walk over and Spare the Dying and touch it. And
Yeah, you notice that you're able to... it's unconscious, breathing once again, but is one of the infected villagers.
okay, stay asleep, little buddy.
but it hurts them.
Yeah, you
On the
you
inside.
died a glorious death. It was beautiful. But just stay asleep right now. I think I walk over and wake up the villager that they were trying to pour water on.
Okay, yep, and she kind of splutters awake, and she sees a Goliath standing above her, and she freaks out and kind of starts skittering backwards, and then she bumps into the sleeping infected, not enough to wake him up, but then turns and sees that, and then she skitters back on the ground, so it's just like this back and forth on the ground as she tries to get from one thing that scares her to another.
I step up. Hold on there, little lady. We're here to help. What's going on?
And she says, "Oh, you're here to help. Thank you so much. Where'd you come from?"
Salt.
Salt break.
Nice save.
We came from Salt.
Salt. We just straight.
That was almost 2 hours ago. You remember that?
Exactly. We were pillars of salt. Salt break.
We're adventurers from Salt Break. We're here to help. What's going on in this village?
Yeah, so she's listening to you, and then she sees the bucket, and she kicks the bucket away, and she looks at you with pleading eyes and says, "Do not drink the water. It has been poisoned."
Hmm.
Okay, good call.
Is that what's changing these people, the villagers, into these monsters?
She says, "Yes, that's what's happened." Well, let me bring one thing up here. She says, "Virianos, a day ago, came into the village, was dragging some chest with him. He went to the well, dumped the chest into the well, and then started pouring water down people's throats, just grabbing villagers and townsfolk. And then they began to change almost instantaneously into these things. And then half the people ran when they saw that was happening. Those that you see here are the ones that he was able to catch. And then once they started to turn, they would try to find other villagers and drag them here to turn them."
Who's Urbanos?
Virianos is one of the fishermen. It was really strange.
Was he changed like these others?
She says, "No, he wasn't, but his eyes, there was something about his eyes."
And where is he now?
She said, "He took the chest and he left."
How long ago? It was last night?
She said, "No, this all happened this morning." And you guys were this is about midday for you guys, so it's probably about 4 hours ago.
Which way did he go?
She said, "Well, in the commotion, I'm not sure where he went. I was hiding," she says, and she points over to this building over here. She says, "I was trying to hide here, but they found me and they dragged me out from the broom closet."
So, just by touching them, you don't turn into one. They have to pour the water on you?
I think it's when you drink the water.
All right, let's tie these other ones up. And
Very smart.
I proceed to start to do that with the rope. Yes.
The rope.
The rope. It's always rope is so useful.
All right, and so we'll come out of turn order. What you guys end up doing is you go through the village and you find various other townsfolk that were hiding. You have found all of the ones that have been infected, and you have them all tied up. They struggle against their bonds. They have no speech, but they appear to still be infected at this point. More villagers join you in the center area there, and they're boarding up the well because they don't know what to do with the well at this point. But as you've searched, and even the rest of the villagers helped you search, there is no sign of Vironos, but one of the boats is missing.
Before they board up the well, can I just look down the
Sure.
well to see if I could see anything down there?
Now, if you got some type of light of some sort, like all you would see is water. You don't see anything in there. It's just you see the water at the bottom, pretty far down, maybe 30 feet down.
Hey, Griselda, could you light this coin up
Sure.
for Yaziri?
So she lights up the coin and it glows.
And I fling it, in overwrought fashion, like, haha, and it flies into the well that Yaziri's looking in.
Yeah, and so it goes down into the well, and the water looks clearish. It finally disappears at a certain point because it's obviously a deep well of water. You don't see anything of the water itself.
So I wonder what he put in it. Like, was it a powder or?
Yeah, none of the villagers seem to have seen it. The ones that were the closest are many of the ones that got grabbed and have been turned. The ones that you found hiding in different buildings and such just heard the screaming and heard what was going on, and many of them don't have an answer or don't have any further information. But that also, actually, we're going to pull the camera out on our crew, and you've searched through the town, and it's obvious that this Vironos has dragged the chest. You find the drag marks once again down to the dock, and it looks like he's loaded the chest up into a boat, and he's left on a boat. But
There's
nobody's
nothing in
seen
the
where.
chest?
Yeah, and nobody sees where the chest. He took the chest with him.
Oh, he took it with him. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this Varenos from this village? Does he live
Yes,
here?
he's a fisherman that usually fish. He lives, and they even show you his house. He has a regular house.
Yeah, yeah. Where does he live?
Yeah, we can just pick a building.
Maybe investigate, see if he's left some clues.
Yeah,
See how he's
his
gone.
wife was there, and she said that he hadn't come home for the last couple of days, and then she heard all the screaming and all the stuff that had happened, and she was hiding in the house when all of it went down, but he had not returned to the house.
Did he seem normal when he left?
On his fishing trip, yes, he seemed normal when he left for his fishing trip 3 days ago.
And he didn't try to come home and contact you or anything?
No.
Blaze goes off and he tries to talk to the guys who would know boats and, tides and, the waterways around here, and tries to get some information from them about where he could be going in such a small boat or
Yeah, you find out that
have any
he
clue.
normally fishes the coastline and the coves. His boat's not big enough to go too far out. So he would normally fish out to the west. And there's many different, and they don't give you a lot of information. Fishermen are very notorious for keeping their fishing spots secretive to them, although they all kind of know where each other go to fish. And he went out towards the west, which really would be back towards where you found the fishing boat. And in fact, probably if you described the boat to the wife would say, yeah, that was his fishing boat that you found near the other ship.
How far? How far away is Salt Break from here?
If you take this road, it is probably a 4-day travel. If you go by boat, it's probably somewhere near around the same or maybe a little bit more because you have to go along the peninsula to get back up around to Salt Break, whereas the road kind of leads more straight to it. There's other towns scattered throughout the coast of Velan.
What's closest to this town?
Salt Break would be the next closest town back to the west.
I think we need to go back.
Well, is there any way we can keep following or tracking this guy? I'm assuming
water?
not because he's on a boat, but
That's Blaze scratches his head like that, like
No, I'm no fisherman. I'm no sailor.
I would like to try and I don't know if I need to experiment or something, but is there any way to heal these villagers?
You can try your Cure Light Wounds. You can try your Lay on Hands. And it appears that it does not heal them or it does not cure them of whatever this is yet.
Okay. So I think we need to find the source of this in order to revert these people back. And it sounds like he has the source of it.
Yes. If he came here to his home to try and spread this infection, my guess is that he's trying to spread this infection everywhere. And if Salt Break is the closest town, my guess is he's going there.
and that's what we ask. Is Salt Break the next closest town?
Yeah, it is the closest town to here.
Okay.
So maybe he took a boat, even though it would take him a little bit longer because he didn't want to drag this chest with him the whole way.
Mm-hmm. Which is odd. He didn't take the boat from.
But he wanted to
the
hit
boat.
this village first, maybe. This is where he's from?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
I mean, you can't explain the actions of a madman.
So do we race back to his boat and use his boat to try to catch him?
Isn't it quicker on land? Slightly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think it would...
if that's where he went, it would be if you took off now, sure.
But I mean, where else would he go?
I guess we quickly organize the villagers here as best we can. Like, hey, do you have a jail? Where can we keep the infected? This is what you're going to have to do to keep them, subdued and stuff. I want to make sure this village is safe before we run off.
I'm quite willing to share some rations and stuff with some of the villagers to stop them drinking from that well.
Yeah, they're going to board it up until they know what they can do about it. So, yeah. And, yeah, they find a place where they can lock these people up and keep them for now. And then, they're going to keep the well off limits. And then they say they'll wait to hear from you.
Good.
Well, I feel like time is of the essence. Do we want to start trudging our way to Salt Break?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I vote that.
That is the next logical place to go, I assume.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say back to the boat is my other guess.
Oh, yeah, maybe he's going back to the boat? I don't know.
That's sort of on the way anyways.
Yeah, if that's on the way, then I guess we could swing by that first.
Cool.
Is it, Lucian?
The road leading out of town would be the quickest way if you stayed on the road back to Salt Break because it would bring you back through the forest. You would probably add another day to go off the road, then back over to the cove, get back to that area, and then take the couple of days back up the coast. So it's quicker to stay on the road by about a day.
And it sounds like we have just enough time if we leave now to get to Salt Break before he does.
Well, let's hope that
I ask the
works out.
villagers if they need anything else before we take off, or if they think that they've got things under control.
Yeah, they give you nods of assurance, and they think so. They've got them contained in an area. They're going to have people guard them. They're going to send for some other priests to see if they might be able to come and help and heal them, even though, they don't say it in such a way to offend you, but to see if there was maybe if somebody else, a healer, would have another way to heal them. They might even know of a druid that lives not too far or something, and they said we might try to send word to see if they could come and help.
Okay.
Well, good luck, villagers. We of the Salt Break Adventure Company are doing what we do best. And take off.
All right. So the camera pans out, and we'll kind of go back to this, I guess. And what we see is you guys take your days and you travel. It's pretty uneventful. You don't run into anything on the way. And actually what we'll do is to kind of end our session here, we're going to have a little bit of flashback. We're going to have a flashback scene where we see a man dragging a chest on a beach out of the forest. And up in the forest, it's a very deep jungle. And as the camera pans up a little bit over the jungle, there's some type of stone temple in the background. And he appears to be dragging this chest away from it to a rowing boat. And he puts it in the rowing boat and he begins to row out to sea. And then we have a cut scene that kind of goes to black and it fades back in. And we see this rowing boat next to a ship. And it's the ship that you guys found on the cove. But it has all the sailors and it's brand new and it's a normal fishing vessel. But now there's mass hysteria on the deck as you could see infected sailors are attacking other sailors and they're trying to make them drink water, and something happens and then it flashes once again, and this ship appears to be floating derelict, just out in the water, nothing on it, nobody on it, rides out through a ominous storm, seems to just travel the ocean currents on its own with nobody or anything on it, and eventually you see it kind of sail up on its own, almost being pushed just by the regular trade winds and the current, and it reaches up to the beach that you guys would recognize. And then we flash forward to a current scene of you guys racing on the road ahead to try to get back to Salt Break. And as you see Salt Break, you're coming up to where the gate would be for Salt Break, and we see this fog roll in to Salt Break just as you guys reach the gates. And that's where we'll call the session as our one shot for Mictlancihuatl's smile, which I always get wrong. Oh, it's so tough to say. So something's up with the chest for sure. But that's our one shot for today. So I think we'll go ahead and call it there. For those of you that got to watch, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
as
thank
you can see, definitely go out and subscribe to Jordan, Magpie Randoms, PB Plays Inside, and Graybeard's Tavern. They all have great channels, and you guys should go out and give them a check them out. They do D&D stuff, which is why they came and played with us, even though they do some other things. And yeah, guys, thanks for playing with me on a Sunday afternoon. Hopefully it was an enjoyable one shot.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there will definitely be more in the future. We're going to continue to work with people's schedules here and there. It won't be like an every week thing, as everybody has super busy schedules, so we won't be able to do something like that. But I bet we'll be able to do more one-shots or maybe even continuations down the road. And when we can, we'll go ahead and tweet that out and get those out on our messages, so keep an eye out for them. If you missed anything, you came late, you can check this out on YouTube. I'll put the video up on YouTube. And we will see everybody in the next episodes of Sir Lucian's gaming channel, which could either be the Monday night game or the Thursday night game or whatever game is in the future. Maybe we'll have Jordan run a one shot for us and he could be the DM and I get to play. That'd be fun. And then we can we'll have Graybeard, or even PB could maybe run one for us, because I bet she's getting ready to be able to be a DM at some point. So okay, guys, thanks for joining. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the chat. Thank you for joining, for those of you that are in chat, and thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.